This content is not suitable for children. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another exciting episode of Pokemon D&D Wundoro Adventure.
Hello!
Okay with those pillows over there?
Well, they're in the screen.
Yeah, I was sitting over there and I forgot to move them.
That's kind of better. Blame it on my husband.
We're finally into February of 2021 after a little bit of a quiet time / hiatus. But it feels good to be back in the role-playing chair.
Yeah, it do feel good. Also, Steve is very green.
I am very green. Yeah, it was shaded a little bit funny. I was wondering if it was picking up some of the greens from the background or whatever, but I can pretend to be sick for the rest of today.
Yeah, or you can just be really angry and just go full Hulk.
In green swampiness.
Yeah,
I didn't notice until Matt pointed out.
it's like if a really, really low-budget movie was based in a swamp and the people were just kind of like, fucking just throw a green filter on the camera,
Yeah.
that'll be good enough. Who cares?
Totally.
Is it at least flattering?
No.
I don't think green is a very flattering color for anyone's face anyways.
Not really.
Perhaps that'll set the tone for today's episode.
Really, he's
Yeah.
just a lizard person.
He's just going to be acting all envious all stream.
Okay, so shout outs to Alyssa at the Lighter Arts for the player tokens, which we will be almost definitely utilizing today. Thank you to Kevin McLeod of Incompetech.com for the background music you're hearing right now. Thank you to Mikkel_Beats for the Poke and Chill soundtrack, which we make generous use of during the course of the stream. And thank you to Joe the DM for the Pokemon 5e homebrew, which we are also utilizing. This is the custom homebrew Pokemon 5e source books, which you can learn more about at www.pokemon5e.com. It's a great system.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys got going on? Anything else to say? What do you got to say?
No,
for
not off the
yourselves?
top of my head.
No?
Nothing right.
The only thing I have to say is I sure as hell hope you went back and figured out exactly how it ended. Because I know mostly what happened, but I don't know how we ended specifically.
I'm pretty sure we just ended being like, yeah, I guess we'll go after the Illumies tomorrow. I guess we can do that.
We didn't decide to rest?
I think we were going to anyways, but...
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, okay, so we'll get there. Matt, can I get you to give us a recap on what happened last time?
Sure, it was actually not the most eventful episode last time. We got up to training the, not the Illumies. Oh my god, I can't remember. The Volbeat.
The Volbeat.
I just had to remember band names. The Volbeat.
Underdog.
Yeah, Underdog. We were training Underdog, trying to teach him how to pick up the lady, the Illumies, and spent a good portion of it teaching him to, like, dance and twirl his antennae and fashioning him a little hat. And then pretty much went to town, grabbed some camping foodie stuff, came back. I think we went looking for a fight on the way back, but didn't see anything.
No, we did. I caught a angry bird. A Starly.
Oh, right. Yeah, we did run into those Starly.
Yeah, you helped me.
Yeah, because I already had one, that's correct. And then we got back to the camp, we made dinner, camped out for a bit until the night came. And then we went to where we saw the Illumies in the night sky, and we helped Underdog with his performance that he did very, very poorly at. And then a bunch of Combee came and ruined everything, and Underdog ran. Jackson nearly died again, and we pretty much ended off going like, okay, well, we know where the Combees are, and I guess we'll go after and look for the Illumies, and probably gonna go take a nap real quick.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So when last you guys left off, you, after your curious encounter with the swarm of Combee, collecting yourselves, and looking over your two teammates, Xavier and Molly, who
Yeah.
kind of busted their butts and got their butts kicked a little bit themselves, all decided to go back for a rest, but both Molly and Xavier were both quite adamant on either getting some sort of comeuppance or finding out what exactly was going wrong. Xavier expressed that the Combee's activity was particularly peculiar. So you guys are headed back to the tent for the night.
Yes.
And that is where we begin today. Did you have anything specifically you wanted to do with the rest of your night? It is getting pretty late. It is quite dark by the time that you make it back to the tent.
Are we able to rest right now? I know we messed up the sleep schedule for the characters at some point.
You guys fixed it last night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we stayed up the night. That's right.
I just realized I hadn't named my Combee.
Did I? I did.
I didn't. Gonna name her Andrina, because that's apparently a type of bee. Now I'm good to go. I needed to name my Pokemon. No, I think my intention is to just more or less head to sleep.
Sure.
Yep. More or less just go and rest. Maybe do some bonding with Maui. If I had to pick one Pokemon to do the bonding thing over the long rest with.
Yeah, I would probably bond with. That's even my loyalty is the worst with. I'll do Abby tonight. I'll just snuggle a big brick. House.
I mean, she's soft. She's got almost like a baby down to her, but she is mostly flesh. She's not.
She's
fluffy in
also
that
the
sort
type
of
of Pokemon that would like
really
fall
lean
asleep
into
on you, and you'd be like,
Yep.
Abby,
She's the Great Dane that thinks it's a lapdog.
Exactly.
Very much so. The problem is that she's small enough that she is generally a small animal.
Yeah,
she's
like
just
1
dense.
foot tall, but
Yep.
73
Like a
pounds.
medicine ball.
It's like if Ghibli weighed like 75 pounds.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh.
Xavier once again thanks you over and over for letting him use your tent. He's not used to traveling with such wonderful accommodations.
Yeah, it's nice having a tent finally.
Yeah, it's not something we're used to either, but it's definitely nicer than just making a lean-to.
And maybe we won't tear this tent to shreds to make rope like our sleeping bags previously.
Nope, that's why we specifically went out and also bought rope.
We did.
I think we're learning.
We are, slowly.
Molly is rather fidgety throughout the entirety of the night. You can tell that she is either anxious or a little bit frustrated with the events of the previous day. Not outright anger by any means, but you can tell by the morning, despite the fact that you guys are typically the first ones up, she's ready and ready to go and kind of pacing around outside the tent.
So by previous day, you mean the day where the Combees attacked?
Yeah.
The day the Combee attacked.
The
In
day
theaters.
the Combee attacked.
I like it. What kind of weather do we have today?
Please be nice. Please be
Right
nice.
there.
Please be nice.
Soonie.
A little tank.
Today is cloudy. It is overcast, but the air is still. It's quite gentle compared to yesterday, which was very, very windy. It seems like whatever sort of weather front was traveling through, you're catching the tail end of it. So while you still have the cloud cover, and it's not a bright pleasant day. It's warm, and it is still.
Did Underdog stay with us?
He left. So
Yeah.
after your guys' encounter yesterday, he, based on the communication he had with Jackson, got very frightened, a little beaten, downtrodden, and flew away.
Well, go see what's wrong with these crazy bug types.
I suppose so, yes. Let me double check my notes and make sure I remember where we're supposed to go. Northwest to the Combee Hive, and apparently we can't miss it, according to Underdog.
I suppose that means it's large. Very large.
Either that, or we'll just see a bunch of Combee.
That's true. Hopefully not quite as strange as yesterday.
Hopefully not. And I mean, hopefully, so long as we don't disturb them, they won't mess with us. That was my bad.
I mean, how are we to know that they were just suddenly going to become hostile?
I suppose that's fair too. But
They kind of already looked hostile. I mean, they were just picking up another Pokemon and flying away. It's kind of threatening.
threatening to the Pokemon, not to us.
I know, but we had invested interest. Sort of.
I suppose.
Walking and talking.
Of course.
Yeah.
Xavier shrugs.
But we put our tent away.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So you're packing up the tent and you're bringing it with you this time.
Yes.
Yep, just in case.
Because all
So
four
probably
of us
take
are
like
going.
half an hour, 45 minutes, or an hour to take it down.
Exactly.
Yes, and that's about right. But between four of you, it gets packed up far faster than if it was just one or two. Xavier kind of shrugs. You guys are having this conversation, and he seems both intrigued, a little bit concerned, and he kind of says, "Yeah, well, they're not usually like that. Combee are usually very, very passive Pokemon. You know, they're workers and tenders in the field. They don't fly off and snatch up other Pokemon like that. That's very, very odd behavior.
Now, from
And
a
they're not independent like that either. Like, you saw them all flying around in a swarm, not one of them a leader.
from more of a like non-Brook question, Pokemon eat other Pokemon though. It's not like the humans that. Okay. But what do Combee typically like eat? Like it wouldn't have saw it as like prey, would it?
No, Combee, they produce honey.
And they eat their honey.
Yes, absolutely. They produce by gathering pollen and nectars from various different plant life. It's quite numerous here in the flowery fields all along Route 3. Bring it back to the hive and create their honey, which they feed to themselves, their young, and to their queen.
I wonder if you're right, Jackson. Maybe they do think she's their queen or something.
Maybe. And they were taking her back to the hive?
I mean, they weren't aggressive to us until we were aggressive to them. Aside from startling her, they didn't seem aggressive to her.
No, they just kind of stole her away, which I mean is technically aggressive, but not in the same violent way that they were towards us.
Yeah. And Molly's very
Quiet.
disturbed by it. Perturbed.
Yeah, she's calmed down. She's walking beside you. She hasn't really said a whole lot. Just kind of patting her pocket. Pulls out a Pokeball every now and then and kind of hefts it in her hand and puts it back. You can see that there's cogs in her head that are working.
You ever see anything like this before, Molly?
Molly lets out a sigh and looks between all of you. She says, "Fuck no. This is, I don't know, different, dangerous, the kind of excitement that I only see when I'm around you two.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's
Exciting good or exciting bad?
Yes.
Exciting neutral?
What the old man said. It's different, you know, like, let's just say it's a lot quieter when you're on the road by yourself.
That's fair. Jackson and I don't exactly do a good job of staying out of trouble.
No. No, we really don't.
We kind of go looking for it.
Yeah, we kind of poke our noses into places where we probably shouldn't be poking our noses, but I mean, more stories to tell?
Yep. And I mean, sometimes it's not necessarily poking our nose into something we shouldn't. It's just becoming too emotionally invested in random Pokemon and feeling the need to protect them from life.
Yeah, well that.
She laughs. She says, fuck, you too. Careful with that big heart. You know what they say about big hearts, right?
Heart disease?
Yeah, something like that. Enlarged heart causes all sorts of like fucking issues and stuff like that. You know? One of them can be an early demise, but you know, like, fuck it, right?
Well, to be
Right.
fair, I don't know if it would be an early demise for me.
Balls on that. Fair enough.
Dark Jackson. At least
I
you got
mean,
it sent
gallows
in.
humor is still humor.
Exactly.
You guys continue traveling over the grassy field. You cross Route 3 into the northwestern sort of side. Following through, your path is marked by plenty of wildflowers in all sorts of different colors, and they just seem to get brighter and more numerous as you go. This entire field, which you had mostly skipped over previously when you traveled in the opposite direction towards Haven, towards
Bramble?
no, why am I forgetting all the town names?
Because we haven't
I think
been
we've only
a
been
while.
to Entrytown, Brambletown, Haventown, and Serene City, haven't we?
That's the one. So from Haven Town to
yeah.
Serene City,
Oh, to
you
Serene
guys
City.
managed to catch a
A
ride.
car.
You
Yeah.
hitchhike.
Yeah.
So between the rain and the truck windows, you missed most of the sights.
Yeah.
But now you're really catching them in full, and it's fragrant.
And we're heading
Northwest.
west?
Northwest.
Yeah.
Northwest.
Kind of in a Mount Flag-ish.
Yeah. You can see the mountain forever to the north of you. It stands as a lonely beacon. All throughout this area, it is that one thing that is ever present. Even from Entrytown on the clearest of day, you could probably see it far, far off in the distance. It is such a recognizable landmark throughout Wundoro. You do start seeing a little bit of activity as individual Combee are flying about, buzzing above the top of different flowers, seemingly collecting and doing their jobs. And it's just one at first, and then it disappears off somewhere northwestern. Another one comes and flits about and doesn't seem to mind you none. And then you start seeing them more and more and more numerous.
Liam's out because he's like almost always out.
Sure.
Same with Billy.
Yeah, but I'm gonna have Abby as my active,
Okay.
so she's out too. For now, unless I feel I need to put her away, because she's a little less stealth. Not that it's ever helped me with Ryulu, because he still rolls bad at stealth. Jackson, only one who can pass a stealth check.
Apparently.
Apparently.
With like what, a -2?
Yep. Same as you, I think.
No, when I leveled up recently, I spread some stuff out. Or I got something.
Oh, so you put some in Dex?
Yeah, I got something recently, and I put some in Dex.
Yeah. And I'll have Billy out, but I'll keep Roshi as my active Pokemon.
So you guys got a fair gaggle of Pokemon there following you. Xavier and Molly, seeing you guys have your Pokemon out, Molly does walk with her C-Dot in her arms. Its short little legs, not able to keep up so much in the tall grass, but it's happy to be sort of handled like a It seems babyish in so many ways. It glances at the Combee as they flit past. It looks at the flowers, and it doesn't so much have a mouth, but you can tell from its eyes that it seems to be looking in the beauty of
See,
this.
that's like. No, I don't know. That's a different one. Never mind.
It looks acornish.
It looks like an acorn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
with two little feet, very simple eyes. And Xavier. Has his Venonat out, who's following behind you. This large, purplish, furry bug Pokemon. Its antennas are constantly scanning the area around it. It's hard to get a read on this Pokemon. It's so alien in such a way. Its eyes are big and multifaceted. But it follows dutifully, keeping an eye on everything seemingly. And then you see something. It is a large, dome-like structure in the distance. Immediately, it appears to be entirely yellow with black like stripes.
Is that a hive?
Xavier smiles and nods.
I'm just. You never know. Maybe it's something else.
He looks at all of you and his eyes sort of light up and says, "Yeah, you're gonna love to see this. Come on." And he starts running towards it.
Are we actually
Follow after.
though? Because like yesterday was nearly really bad.
He,
I mean, if they're not aggressive.
yeah, and you guys are, I wouldn't say surrounded by, but you are amongst numerous Combee at this point. The fields are pretty full of them. They're all over the place. You're never more than 20 or 30 feet from them. And they do seem to get more and more active as you get closer and closer to this hive. The hive itself is maybe 80 feet across. It's in an octagonal sort of shape, and again another 30, maybe 40 feet tall. Xavier doesn't get more than maybe 100 feet close to it, but he stops and he points at it and he says, "See the hive? That's made up of countless thousands of Combee. Their bodies themselves make up the hive."
So you just shove their booties together and make a structure.
He says, "Well, you saw them the other day. They have that sort of octagonal sort of shape to them, and altogether they link up and they form this, and they sort of break off as directed to go out and do the work."
That's really interesting, actually.
So you could just like pick up and move like that.
Absolutely. At night, the hive is absolutely massive, as every single one of the Combee come home to nest.
Frightening to think that this gets bigger.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I suppose there's nothing more but to go in. Or I look for Illumis. Can we see her? Anybody?
I will look.
Same.
Give me a perception check.
Wah! First roll of the night is a 12.
First roll of the night. Natural 20.
Nice.
Yeah.
Jackson, you're probably distracted by all the movement around, looking for the Illuminis, a Pokemon who stands out from these Combee, both in size and color and shape. But you don't see it. In fact, you don't really see many other Pokemon around here other than the Combee themselves, who are innumerable. There's so many about. But they've basically ignored you this whole time. A few of them have sort of watched you as they've gone about their duty, but they're not aggressive by any means. They don't seem to be concerned with your presence here. Brook, as you're scanning the hive itself, you don't see a Loomise, but you do see an entrance to it. There seems to be one single entrance into the hive, and it's a hole in it that is just large enough for a Combee to enter and one to exit at the same time. So it's maybe 2.5 feet around.
Okay. We could
Pretty
probably
small.
squeeze through, though.
A person would have to squeeze, yes.
But could squeeze.
You know that there's a constant stream of Pokemon
Ooh.
coming in and out of it.
Oh.
One constantly going in, and one constantly coming out.
Okay. I think I kind of found a door, if you want to call it that. 2 problems, though. It's small. I think we could fit through if we squeezed through, and that's the problem 1. And 2, problem, there's a constant flow of Combee.
Oh, that could complicate things.
Yeah. I don't know how they would feel about us, like, shoving our booties through and corking up their flow.
Well, I mean, there's only one way to find out.
Xavier looks at the two of you and he says, whoa, whoa, whoa. I mean, only 2 things go in and out of that Combee hive. Combee,
At us.
the flowers or whatever that they're carrying. I don't know if... I mean, if anything we saw from last night is any sort of indication of what's going to happen if you find yourself inside there.
Gosh, I wish I had Vex here. Vax?
Who's,
Vax, I mean. Too much critical role.
Who's,
No, it is Vex. It is Vex. Oh, God.
It is Vex. You were right the first time.
I was...
You got into the too much critical roll the second time.
Yeah.
It says, who's Vex?
It's my Shuppet. He can be practically invisible.
Yeah, that would have been useful. What about those Combee you 2 caught?
Sent them back to the professor.
Rick and Jackson are like, no. I mean, no, that would. I don't really want to. Theoretically, but it would be bad because. I mean, Ziggy could dig under.
I suppose. Would they have a floor, or would they just kind of leave the floors as as dirt? Or is there a floor of Combee on the inside of a hive?
Xavier actually looks uncertain. Says, oh, that I don't know.
Do you think they'd be offended if we just like took a peek?
He
Took a little peek.
he points towards the opening and he says, well, you see those Combee right there? And he points to 4, maybe 5 different Combee that are really just staggering around the entrance to it. They're a little bit larger than the other Combees that are going in and out. And he says, those Combee are the warriors of the hive. The others are just drones, workers, you know. They ensure the security of the hive itself.
Right.
You'd have to have a pretty good ruse to get past them.
What if we just covered ourselves in flowers and hoped that they picked us up?
This is why we get ourselves in trouble, you see?
Molly laughs as she chugs on her smoke and goes, That's it. I really like that fucking idea.
Well, I mean, he said that only 2 things come in and out, and one is Combee and one is flowers.
If we're a flower.
The logic is sound.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not arguing.
Yep.
Okay.
I guess we're just gonna go grab some flowers and decorate each other. We're all going back to the 60s and becoming hippies.
Ooh.
We're all flower children.
Yeah. Do you really think this will work?
No, but it's worth trying.
Picking flowers.
It's a plan.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, Xavier goes and he picks a flower and he looks at all of you and he says, I do have my reservations. What if, and I do really like your idea. I suspect that one of them itty bitty little Combee probably ain't gonna be able to pick up, you know, you or me or the old man or Molly. Molly kind of grunts and she says, "What, you calling me fat?" Gets a little embarrassed. He says, "No, but it's just I mean,
We get it. We're big, they're small. What are you getting at?
is there anybody else who could go in?"
That's small?
Sure.
Or
Would they
small
be
and
offended
heavy?
by other Pokemon going in?
Because I have small and heavy.
It's small, preferably. You want something that, I mean, the Combee are actually gonna be able to gather. You know what I mean?
You want them to gather.
Well, if
Well,
you're gonna enter
What
them.
about this? And I'll pop out Dandy.
Sure. Dandy floats there in place. This lovely pink and green Pokemon.
We'll just put a bunch of flowers on Dandy.
You might be able to take him in.
Xavier considers, nods, puts a flower on top of Dandy's head.
Dandy's got so much spunk, he can draw the attention.
Oh, heck yeah.
I'm gonna make Dandy a flower crown.
I'm gonna help.
He loves it.
Of course he does.
You kind of fit it around his dandelion leaves, and his little tail goes a little bit more as he shimmies in midair, humming to himself as you do so. Absolutely just adoring the attention that he's getting.
Now,
Molly just
Dandy,
sits
I
there.
should warn you. We're planning on some of these Combee coming and grabbing you and potentially taking you into their hive. There's a Pokemon that we saw last night who was kind of little and blue with antenna and lights up. We're looking for that one. If you can find her and maybe get her out with you.
Hoppip nods to you and smiles brightly.
Hoppip's too precious for this world.
Yeah.
Molly laughs and says, it's like a Hoppip Trojan horse. you know,
Yeah.
Trojan Rapidash.
Yeah.
Well, now we've confirmed that Troy is a thing in
Yep.
Wundoro.
It's canon.
Pokey Troy.
Poketroy.
Okay. So how do we get the Combee to want to take Dandy? Aside from Dandy shaking his booty and looking amazing.
Do you have anything to, entice them over?
I mean, I've got some berries. We could probably grab some flowers and kind of try to tap out some of the pollen on top of him.
Well, the Combee are typically attracted by either imperceptible to us, but pheromones in certain sense given off by the flowers. It lets them know that they're ripe or in season, I suppose.
Don't really have a lot of flowery type Pokemon. Even in the box.
Well, if we were able to find some of the more in-season flowers here and potentially add those to the flower crown or sprinkle the pollen, and maybe those pheromones can just kind of be on Dandy and they might get attracted.
Yeah, just rub a bunch of yellow pollen-y crap all over Dandy.
Yeah, worst comes to worst, Dandy just acts like a flower.
Exactly.
Dandy, do you know how to act like a flower?
Dandy smiles and strikes a pose. There.
Is it flower-like?
Is it flower-like that fast?
It's it's very dandy. But Dandy's also covered in a number of other flowers, and it looks like a flying
Flower?
Yeah, like a flower
flying-
bush.
Like a tumbleweed of flowers.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But is Danny gonna be okay in there by himself?
I mean, so long as they don't get violent, he should be fine.
So
I told him what we're looking for, so hopefully he's able to find her.
the backup plan if things go wrong to get Dandy out is Ziggy digs a tunnel.
Sure. I mean, hopefully it's not more than... We don't... Yeah, Dandy doesn't get more than 60 feet away, so we can still recall him.
Do we need to see the Pokemon to recall them?
Not
Does it just
necessarily, but
auto-recall?
you should have a line to them,
Yeah, but if
Okay.
there's a wall of Combee in between Jackson and his Combee.
Could present a problem.
Okay.
That being said, I don't think you guys have ever experimented with.
Why would we want to? The closest we got was with the Squirtle and my Meowth being separated from us.
Yeah.
So Ziggy digs on the opposite side, because we only saw one hole.
Yeah.
If shit goes sour. Can Dandy do something really loud so we know if things go bad?
Well, let's find out. Dandy, what's the loudest noise you can make?
He looks at you and smiles and goes, which is,
How loud was that?
compared to the general stillness of the landscape around you, minus the Combee buzzing, it stands out. It's fairly shrill, but it's not terribly loud in terms
A
of
weird
a
singing
vocalization.
Okay, well, if anything bad happens, do that and try to get out of Dodge.
Dandy nods, looking back towards the hive, starting to become a little bit more nervous
It's okay.
now that you're implying bad stuff could happen.
Liam will come,
You'll be fine,
and Ziggy will dig you a hole out.
and we've got your back.
Between all of you, and shudders a little bit, and his tail starts going, and he tries to play it off a little bit.
Aw.
Everything's gonna be good because you're so sweet. They'll have to love you. That's fun.
Exactly.
Nods.
Now, I suppose we should probably go and try to find some in-season wildflowers to
Yes.
rub on this boy.
I'm gonna look poorly, and Jackson will look much better.
Sure. Give me, both of you, can you give me survival checks?
You bet.
Oh, not bad.
That's an 18.
I forgot what my modifier was for a second. That's 15.
Wow. It's not a difficult task. You basically just watch the Combee and see what they're attracted to. And you pick up some of the flowers behind them as they trail off, heading back to the hive.
Okay. Just sprinkle
Perfect.
some on them.
Kind of crush it
Yeah.
up and sprinkle it over him.
Rub it in like blush.
It's kind of a bluey color, which contrasts against his soft, pinky sort of flesh.
So I like rub it in on him. I'm like, Jackson, next time we get to go to a beauty pageant, you should give Dandy a try.
Yeah, I should.
I think he'd love it.
I think he would too. It would be a fun time for everyone involved.
I feel like you got a lot of good pageant Pokemon.
I do.
Did you ever think that when you set out on a Pokemon journey, it would be Jackson, the pageantry winner with his pageant Pokemon?
I didn't even know Pokemon pageants were a thing, so no.
Molly looks at all of you and says, "Oh fuck, we got we doing this?"
Yeah. Right, Dandy?
Randy nods and settles in amongst the grasses.
I'm gonna go.
Now, do your best to look like a flower. I'm gonna go hide like 10 feet away, but within eye shot of Dandy.
I'm going to recall Abby for this because she's not Stoof. Yeah. And I'm gonna go lie in some tall grass or bush or whatever as close to the hive as I can, but like somewhat far from it, just ready to call out Ziggy to dig if I hear Buddy scream.
Sure.
Dandy scream.
Okay. Can I get you guys to give me stealth checks if that is what you were doing?
Liam is with me.
Sure.
He will also have
Okay, that's not a good one for Jackson.
Jesus in true Brook fashion.
Billy's was good. I also had out Roshi's, the other one. Okay, so Jackson got a modified 0. I don't know how you can modify. I shouldn't really have to say modified because, that's obvious. Billy got... What's your modifier, Billy? Oh, it's just straight. So 17. And Roshi got a 16 plus 1 for 17. Again, as well.
So, Liam got an 11 because he's my high dex guy and still can't roll well on stealth. And I also got a modified 0.
Nice.
A natural 1. Just to balance out the 20 I got earlier.
So, here's what happens. Jackson, you go and crouch down into some tall grasses. There's plenty to do so. Basically, you're just pressing yourself down into the natural foliage here. Molly and Xavier join you. Molly still smoking. Doesn't seem to be hidden by any sort of standards. Looking over at you, who is peering over, maybe a little closer than you mean to be. Maybe revealing yourself far more than you intended to. Given the fact that you're concerned for your Pokemon and really trying to keep a good eye on it. Xavier actually hides pretty well, though, and he's close to you. You know he is. You just can't pick out exactly which bush or which tuft of grass he's hiding behind. You watch Liam and Brook basically tripping over themselves as they try to move through the grass. Typically, they're traveling with yourself, Jackson, who points out the paths and leads the trail. But they're blazing their own trail along here, and they're tripping on roots and their own feet, and they're pretty obvious as they travel closer to the hive. And even the Combee notice, and as they get closer and closer and closer, every now and then you feel one buzz a bit closer to your head than is comfortable, but none of them attack you.
Okay. I just picture trying to hide in the
Good.
grass and Liam trying to tell me how to hide, so he's just making way too much noise.
And Dandy sits there, smiling happily. He looks at the Combee as they fly over, and he looks back at you, Jackson, smiling, and he waves at you. Can you give me a deception check for Dandy?
A Dandy deception check.
Advantage because he looks
Sure.
like a flower.
Yeah, with advantage, because you guys did a lot of good things for him.
Okay. Ooh, so that's a 19.
Wow.
Nice.
You guys weren't in on the ruse. You might just think he was another flower here. At a glance, he certainly appears to be it. And the Combee, as as they flit past, one eventually takes note of him, and a few minutes later, another Combee passes over by, settles over top of your Hoppip. It does this funny little dance over top, seemingly marking the flower with whatever scent
I forgot what Hoppip looks like.
before it settles down on top of it, and a second one flits over, and the two of them sort of press up against Dandy and start carrying him away.
Perfect.
They fly off towards the hive.
Cool. I'm going to get as close to the hive as I can without them being aggressive.
The two Combee come up to the very front of the hive, and they find themselves in a bit of a waiting pattern as Combee are entering in and out. It's hard to notice at first, but then as you're carefully watching, you can see as the Combee who are floating around in front of the hole are slowly starting to file in as their turn in whatever lineup this is comes up. As the two Combee that are carrying Hoppip come to the front, they're abruptly stopped by two of the other Combee that are seemingly patrolling the front of this thing. There seems to be a little bit of a disagreement. Can I get another deception check
From Dandy?
your Dandy?
Okay. Just straight this time?
Give me another advantage.
Sure.
'Cause I like this.
Okay. That's not as good, but it's still not bad. Let's say 17.
It's a 17. The two Pokemon that are clearly keeping guard fly around and buzz very closely to Dandy, knocking off a few of the flowers that are kind of settled onto him. And Dandy looks back towards you, crossing through the fields, Jackson.
He's gonna give him
with
a
a little
thumbs
bit
up.
of desperation, but he doesn't move, and he kind of stays in spot. The two Pokemon continue their investigation all around him, buzzing, their wings flapping furiously. But then they settle backwards into their spot. And the two Combee have to kind of wrestle their way inside. The hole only big enough for two Pokemon as it is. Dandy is pretty small though, and they do manage to inside the hole and disappear inside.
Perfect.
Listen very carefully,
Yep.
You hear just a constant
but no screaming.
across the field.
Well, I suppose we just wait.
I'm so anxious. I don't like it.
Jackson, can you give me one final deception check? For Hawk?
Just straight or?
Just straight this time.
Okay.
Oh no! I'm so scared.
Come on,
for
come on,
Hawk.
come on, come on, come on, come on. Okay, good. 18. Rolled a freaking 17, a 16, or 17, 15, and then a 16, so I'm happy. With that plus 2.
Yeah, this is a good roll.
Oh my god.
Dandy killing it today.
Hell
Dandy's
yeah.
precious. He's too precious. for
Dandy's
this
found his
world.
calling. Fooling bees.
You guys wait a anxiety-riddled long moment. It's probably 10-15 minutes as Molly lights up another smoke. Xavier kind of taps his foot on the ground, looking between all of you.
Did we just send Dandy to get like eaten? I look at Liam.
But he looks at the hive. How far is Liam's true sight?
I don't have a distance on it.
Oh, okay. Then I guess he just sees.
I don't know because I don't know. I didn't write a distance, but I also only did a vague description of what it.
True sight 30 feet.
Okay. You checked on his stabby thing?
No, it says on his character sheet.
It does?
Yeah.
Ew.
Under senses.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right.
He's a little bit far away, but you can see him really straining his eyes to get a glimpse of what's going on inside. Not really certain. But eventually, you see Hoppip appear at the opening. He's kind of smiling. There's no flowers left on him at all. And as he leaves, he kind of turns around and he bows and he bows and he bows and he
What the
continues
hell?
flying out. He kind of searches the field for a second or two before he finally catches Jackson's eye and starts traveling in that direction, just floating softly.
I am not
Flying.
stealthily
You didn't drag out
moving
the
towards
enemies?
Jackson.
He didn't drag out the enemies with him?
No,
Damn.
he seems to be by himself.
Jackson, what? You gotta ask him what happened in there.
I am going to, and I will use a deep connection.
Okay.
Wait, can I? Yes, I've only used it once.
He comes towards you, his little arms out, reaching towards your hands, Jackson. He's smiling and his eyes are bright. And
Reach my little hands out to his.
in that moment, as your hands touch, your deep innate connection with him is sort of cemented, and you can perceive his actions, his murmurs as language. And
So,
he hums to you and he says, "Oh, very nice there.
it's nice in there?
Yeah, kind of warm
That's kind of warm
and sweet. So
and
much
sweet.
And he licks his lips.
Are my hands all sticky now?
Your hands are very sticky. You can tell that he's definitely dripping.
Okay, well, did you happen to see that Pokemon I asked about before in there?
He nods and he says, "Yes, yeah, she's in there."
Was she distressed at all, could you tell, or?
Oh, well, can you give me an insight check for him?
For him? For Dan? Oh, nat 20.
Natural 20.
Nice.
Dandy's getting good fucking rolls today. Holy shit, I should use him more often.
Dandy MVP.
His eyes sort of narrow a little bit, and he says, "Oh, you know, she was playing up the proper queen, but you could tell she was out of place and maybe not there by her own choice."
Do you think you'd be able to go in and get her out, or would that be too dangerous?
Oh, no. There was another.
There was another.
Yes. Another Pokemon in there, and not like the Combee.
What did it look like?
Well, it was big. Man, mean looking. You should have seen the thing. These big horns and black, short, bristly fur. And oh, it was snarling flames.
Big oh. Okay. Big horns, black fur, flames. I have a feeling I know what Pokemon this is.
It seemed to be the king of the hive, and whatever the king said, the queen did.
Well, that's a problem. I'm assuming that these Combee probably aren't a fan of it. I'm assuming the Queen isn't really a fan of it. We might have to take that guy out in order to get Illumise out and to kind of, I guess, keep this hive at ease. If it's commanding them, it's probably... There's a good chance it might try to get them to do something more violent to other Pokemon or other trainers even. So that's good to know. Thank you for the information, Dandy.
Dandy
And you did
smiles
very
and
well.
bows to you and licks its little hand.
When Jackson talks to his Pokemon, do we hear Jackson's side of the conversation?
Yep.
And I'll turn to everybody and be like, so, Brook, remember the Houndoom?
Mm-hmm. The minute I heard you say back, fire, and horns, and black fur, yeah. I knew.
Yeah, so the only thing is we'll have to kind of get in there, so we might need Ziggy to dig under them anyways.
Yep.
Oh,
Xavier
Dandy.
comes running up and he says, "Wow, that went better than I expected. What did you learn anything?"
Yes, apparently there's a Houndoom that's controlling the hive.
Well, I don't know any Houndoom. That's not a bug Pokemon, is it?
No, it's it's like a big... Have you ever seen a Houndour? Or a Puchietta?
Maybe that second one.
You know what? Actually, here, I'll just take out the Pokedex and show him the Houndoom, because I'm pretty sure we got it on the Pokedex.
I think so. One of
So-
us did.
Yeah, he looks at it and he nods and he says, "Oh well, that ain't right."
No, and we've encountered him
No.
before. Or her. It.
It seems to like making little Pokemon do its bidding.
Quite enjoys it.
The poor Combee.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
And
that explains their strange, aggressive behavior the night before. But what do they want with the Illumise?
Weird question.
we don't know.
Which of Jackson's Pokemon? What? You didn't catch Dandy there, did you? That was
no,
elsewhere.
I caught the Igglybuff.
Igglybuff.
I think the
Didn't you catch
Igglybuff's the
two?
only thing I caught there. Maybe... No, I don't think so. I think it was just the Igglybuff.
I had a moment of being like, oh, is this PTSD for her?
You might have also caught the Sunkern there.
Oh, yeah, I might
Yes.
have gotten Perp there as well.
And
I
you-
spent most of the battle trying to convince Keegan to come with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, last time we encountered it, we were a little outclassed, so to speak. The only reason that we made it through was because an ex-Sploud helped us. We were helping her find her baby. The Houndoom had taken it.
Well,
It seems to like making other smaller Pokemon do whatever it wants, so the it might have had them kidnap the Illumise just for that purpose. I don't know.
It's probably controlling the whole hive.
well. Then what do we do about that?
We dig in underneath and BOW! There's 4 of us this time.
And a couple thousand Combee.
If we surprise it, maybe we can take it out fast enough that the actual queen will tell them to stand down?
Or there's a way that we can lure it out.
Maybe.
What do you mean? Did your Pokemon see the actual queen in there too?
How long does Deep Connection last? Let me double check. I think it's 10 minutes. No, it's the Speak with Animals spell. Hang on.
Yeah, I think it's quite a while. Regardless, it hasn't been a long period.
Perfect. Speak with animals. So I'll just turn back to Dandy and say, hey, Dandy at his 10 minutes. Dandy, did you happen to see the actual queen of the hive anywhere? Or just the Illumies?
He looks at you a little confused and
It would look
says-
like a big version of the bee things, I think.
Andy shakes its head and says, "No, just the Combee, the monster, and
The little blue one.
substitute queen.
Hmm.
Oh, and there were a couple of them other small ones, like the big one but smaller.
Oh, a couple of little fiery pooches. Okay. I'll turn back to everyone. So it sounds like the Dandy at least didn't see the queen.
Weird question. Did the Houndoom howl
Did it howl?
of sorts?
Yes.
Is it possible that we could make it perceive that something big and bad like itself is out here and draw it out? Like, make it territorial itself.
Maybe, but it also has thousands of Combee at its disposal that I don't think it would have an issue with just throwing at it.
Pokemon
Would be my only counter argument to that.
hold a grudge?
Probably.
What if it recognized a Pokemon that escaped it? Not that
Could
I
be
want
worth
to
a
throw
try.
Keegan into the lion's den, but
It could be worth a try.
the only other thing I can think of is mimicking the Exploud, but that seems like a difficult task.
Yeah, a little bit.
But he would
The only other thing
recognize
that I can
us.
think of would be to dig under with Ziggy and see if we can just take it out quick enough.
Just wish we could lure him away.
Xavier's been pondering and sort of pacing a little bit the whole time, watching the other Combee, and says, "The Combee will. They protect their queen with their lives. The queen can't survive without the Combee, and the Combee can't survive without queen."
So if we were somehow able to make the queen stand up to the Houndoom, we could potentially have all of the Combee on our side.
But where's the queen?
Well, if the Illumise is the sort of stand-in queen, because we weren't able to see the actual queen.
Molly shrugs and says, "Where the fuck's the actual queen?"
Good question. How do we even go about finding it unless you talked to a random Pokemon?
Exactly.
Is there... Is there any indication... Because the Houndoom did it somehow. And why did I forget his name? Xavier, right?
Yeah.
Indicated that the Combee are active in this area, which suggests that they have a hive here frequently, if not always, regardless of its mobility. Is there any indication that there was a confrontation between the Houndoom and the hive?
Give me a investigation check.
It's an 8.
There's a lot of activity here, but for all that you see, you don't see any natural scars. You don't see burnt land. You remember the remnants of the fight between the Exploud and the Houndoom back when you found the Mother Exploud. The burnt ground, the smashed nest, the char marks on the Exploud itself. You don't see any of those sort of telltale signs.
Yeah, so no, like, clearly charred Combee.
No Combee corpses.
Well, if we knew how the Houndoom even got itself into this position, it wouldn't have happened easily.
No, I don't believe so.
The queen, they would have protected her, providing that there was a queen.
Xavier says there always has to be a queen. He just motions around. He says thousands and thousands of Combee don't do this without someone say so.
Right. But the last time we encountered the Houndoom, like, there was very clear
Signs of a fight.
distress. I don't see them here. In terms of, like, our marks, and there aren't a bunch of Combee corpses. I just want to march right in there, but
Yeah, it doesn't seem like marching in there would be the best idea.
no.
And the only other thing that I can really think of at this point would be to dig under and see if we can pop up underneath the Houndoom.
Or go back and get our Combee and ask them.
Potentially.
But that is time. Okay.
Molly looked and she says, well, there's plenty of fucking Combee around here. Why don't you ask one of these ones?
I need to be close with them.
With the Exploud, Jackson managed to talk to the Exploud, which is how we know the baby was taken, but she was a mother in distress wanting help.
Yeah, it was extenuating circumstances. I suppose I could try, but I can't guarantee anything. I'm gonna go and find a nice in-season flower.
Yeah, a beautiful wildflower. It's blue with little white speckles in the center of each one of its petals. There's very, very small thorns that run up and down its length, but they're soft enough that as you touch them, they just kind of bend at the pressure of the thumb.
Perfect. I shall pick one and hold on to it and wait for a Combee to come to me, and then try to use Deep Connection on the Combee.
Give me a Pokemon handling check.
Okay, that's not bad. That's pretty good. Plus 19.
Okay. You wait there for a few moments before one of the Combee buzzes over towards you, spotting the flower in your hand. not seeming to care too much that you're holding it. It buzzes around it. The three small faces on each of its little body segments kind of look between you and the flower and the hive and you and the flower and the other Combee around it. But it takes its time buzzing there.
Perfect. Want to use deep connection? Do I get anything?
You do. Yeah, this Pokemon doesn't seem to be trying to hide anything from you. And just immediately as it's there, you can sense its thoughts and kind of hear what it's saying to itself as each individual little face sort of speaks in turn and says,
Hello, little Combee.
continues to buzz there in place, and each one of them looks up at you and goes,
It looks like, from what I can tell, that your queen is missing.
it flits around a little bit. It looks to be almost done with the flower, but as it buzzes its place, two of the little bees go, no queen, no queen. But the third face seems to frown a little bit and says,
Do you know where the queen went? We'd like to get her back for you if we could.
two of the faces looking at you says,
Queen hive, hive queen, queen, no queen, pretty queen.
and the third face says,
Gone over field, gone away.
Do you like the big flamey Pokemon that's kind of hanging out here?
At that, each one of them sort of flinches a little bit, and they say, and just kind of keep repeating that.
Jackson.
Yes?
You should tell them that, we'll help them if they don't hurt us, and that they should spread the word.
Worth a try. We want to help you. So if the king is making you do things that you don't want to do, we can help you with that. We just need you and your fellow Combee to not hurt us when we do help. If that's possible.
Each of the little faces looks kind of frustrated or insulted by that, as each one of them goes,
Oh, so you have to obey the king.
and you sort of nod in turn.
What if the queen were to come back? Would you obey her instead?
Two of the little faces go, and the last one looks almost a little hopeful and goes,
Queen return.
Which field did she fly over? Do you know what direction?
can you give me a persuasion?
Okay, keep rolling decently. Good. Well, I mean, that's a persuasion. Oh, I'm proficient, so that's a 16.
Wow. The whole body sort of turns and motions off, sort of more northernly.
I'm gonna
And
write
all
that
three of
down.
them say, and the third one says,
Queen, there.
Vespa. Okay, I'll tell you what. Me and my friends will do what we can to get the queen back. And hopefully we can deal with that king.
Two of them look a little perturbed with you. But the third one smiles gently as the Combee flies away.
Perfect. Well, it sounds like the queen is north of here.
Go towards, like, Mount Flag. More.
It seems like it. I wonder if she has another hive or if we're just gonna be looking for her.
So the Houndoom chased her off then?
It seems like it.
Well, anybody feel like hunting for a queen bee?
Xavier says, "Wow, what'd you find?"
Apparently the queen is north of here, more towards Mount Flag.
Oh, did you ask what happened?
They didn't seem to want to give an answer, but it sounds like she left.
Oh,
I'm assuming she was driven out.
couldn't imagine what would have made her leave.
The Houndoom, probably.
I would assume.
Is it really that bad?
It's pretty
It's-
awful.
Yeah. Especially with how much of a bully it is. She probably wouldn't appreciate having somebody coming in and kind of usurping her throne and forcing her workers to do its bidding instead of hers. I can imagine.
No, I don't imagine so. Huh.
A literal alpha pissing contest.
Guess so. A royal brawl.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, before we leave, I'm just curious, Liam. Do these Pokemon seem emotionally distressed?
He looks around. Can you give me an insight check?
I always roll so poorly when I play Brook. It's really quite awful, actually. Well,
12. He looks around and studies each one of them as they fly around. They're as alien to this Pokemon as they are to you. They're not human. They don't have the same sort of emotional range. You gather.
sorry, there was just a random bang.
But he really watches them and he shrugs a little bit and says, nods slightly.
There. Well, north we go. We ready for a hike? Jackson doesn't have flip-flops anymore.
Yeah, I've got some actual hiking shoes.
Molly nods and she drops her cigarette and smushes it on the ground.
Yeah. I mean, Liam seems to think that some of them are discontent, at least a little, so let's even the odds by bringing back a queen.
Yep.
Make them question their allegiance.
Your two companions nod and wait for you guys to take the first step.
Pop out
All
that
right.
bee so that she can trudge.
Yep, and I will keep out Billy and Roshi still, but I'll put Dandy back in his Pokeball.
You guys are moving northwards into the shadow of Mount Flag. now's probably a good time for us to take a quick break.
Good, because I want to see what banged.
I don't know.
You know, turn off transition, because I forgot to do that, and then
It's been a bit too, so. Yep, get stretched. I'm good. Level 8. Yeah. Wait. Is that right? Let me double check the trainer leveling chart. Nope, not you. Trainer level chart. Yeah, 8 is 28 levels. Is that right? No, no. Billy's 8. Mary's 6, so that's 14. Ratsputin is also 6. No, I think I just have the wrong number on there. He should just be 7. Yeah, he's just level 7. I just have the wrong number under level for some reason. That's a good question. What did I take? I took, yeah, Charmer, the one for fairy types. Yeah. Yeah.
You all take off to the grassland once again, leaving the constant buzz of the Combee behind you. You're walking through the grass. Molly looks over at the two of you and says, "So, what are we looking for?"
We're looking for the queen? That's a good question, actually. I don't know what it looks like. Xavier, that's your area of expertise, I suppose.
Yeah, I was just gonna assume it was a bigger Combee.
He smiles and he says, "Well, I don't know if I've ever seen one in person, but they look similar. So they have the same yellow and black sort of patterns on them. And they say they have a great royal ruby in the center of their forehead."
Okay. So fairly identifiable.
I mean, should stand out.
What are they called?
Vespiquen.
Miss Melissa. Woo! Melissa wants to see a picture because I forgot already. I was like, I just.
It's
know that
basically a
they look
Beedrill
like they're
wearing a dress.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, so a big yellow and black thing with a red ruby on its head. Sure.
Yeah, that about sums it up.
Okay. And of course, she flies, so it's not like there's distinguishing marks.
No, unfortunately not.
Does she make a distinguishing sound?
Well, I imagine the same sort of buzz or hum that the Combee make. That sort of telltale insectoid wing sort of sound.
But
Buzz,
not,
buzz.
but not like higher or lower.
I don't know. I've never seen one in person.
I know. You're just the bug guy. Don't take it as offense. Okay. Well, let's keep our eyes and ears open then. I'm just gonna listen.
See.
Can I get perception checks then?
That's not great. 8.
5.
So it was hours you guys traveled from the tent to get to the Combee hive. We'll call it 4 hours of walking. From here outwards, you seem to be traveling a good number of hours again. A long period of time just walking through the grass, looking for something. And there's plenty of Combee around. They continue to sort of buzz about, and every now and then another one enters your field of vision, collecting all that, which is flour, to bring back towards its hive, dutifully so.
Still this far out.
Still this far out. They don't seem to notice you too much, and I mean, Combee in this part, you gather, wouldn't be a terribly unfamiliar sight. Obviously, you see more and more as you get closer to the hive, but you can imagine they probe out decently far. And who knows if there's more hives and such out in any sort of direction here anyways, right, with their own hives. These ones seem to be traveling backwards in the same direction that you just came from, though, back towards the other hive.
So none of them are flying in a distinctly different pattern.
Not from what you can tell. No. Jackson and Brook, you guys, your attention is caught every now and then as another Combee enters your field of hearing. But there's nothing else that really catches your attention beyond that. Check something here real quick.
Been a while since we've played, but if I were to specify when we're walking about that so and so is actively searching, could I have had them make the roll?
Yeah.
Aim's just better at perception checks than I am.
Okay. You're probably going off another 3 hours. Just walking through the field, you can see the distant shore of Make-A-Wish Lake to the north of you as you keep walking. It is still some good long distance off, but it's a big enough landmark that it catches your vision at the very end.
Perfect.
And the land here flat enough that it stands out as far as you can see. It kind of glitters off in the horizon.
Is there still visible Combee around?
Less and less
Right.
as you've been going. They're far enough now that you don't see one for maybe 15, 20 minutes at a time. You don't see any other Pokemon, though, during the entirety of your walk. It's been a quiet day. Molly is the first to point out, off in the distance. She, having lit another cigarette during the course of your walk, motions offwards and dumps a little bit of ash on the ground, and she says, that your Vespiquen?
Look over. What do I see?
Same.
You see a small gathering of Pokemon. They seem to be sitting on a barer portion of ground. The grasses around them kind of folded downwards. You see what appear to be 4 smaller Pokemon that Jackson would recognize as Sunkern.
Nice.
You see one larger one. It looks like a flower come to life with big, bright, beautiful yellow petals for a face. Green, almost humanoid sort of body with a bit of a pot belly. It's sitting on the ground. Its large head, almost bobble-like on its very thin neck, sort of waving. Its face facing towards the sun. But every now and then you can hear it make a sound, seemingly almost in conversation.
I'm putting my Pokedex.
Sure.
It doesn't have a big red ruby on its head.
Pointing towards that Pokemon, the Pokedex spins for but a moment, and it comes back with the picture of this very sunflower-looking Pokemon that says, Sunflora, the sun Pokemon. Sunflora converts solar energy into nutrition. It moves around actively in the daytime when it is warm. It stops moving as soon as the sun goes down for the night. And amongst these Pokemon, you see a Pokemon that is larger than all of them. Probably larger than all of them combined. This Pokemon seems insectoid in a way, almost with like a ball gown, a very conical sort of shaped
Wait a second, I think I see it.
that is resting on the ground. A pair of heavy yellow and black sort of shoulders, a head with almost a crown with a big red gem in the center. And it's got these two long arms that are sort of lounging behind it, and it's gesticulating a little bit. Each of the little sunkerns that are sitting on the ground, their little green leaves are sort of playfully alert and moving around and reacting to this large queen Pokemon that is making some sort of noise to them.
I'm gonna shift my Pokedex over to her and just say, I think we found her, yes.
Okay.
Good eye, Molly.
The Pokedex moves over to the other one, and it spins for but a moment before it comes back with Vespiquen, the Bee-lieve Pokemon. Its abdomen is a honeycomb for grubs. It raises its grubs on honey collected by Combee.
Interesting. Does she look like she's like, oh, wait on me, I am the queen?
Give me an insight check.
Just make fun of her. That's a 15.
No, none of the other Pokemon look put out. In fact, they seem to be almost enthralled.
Oh. Maybe I shouldn't have made fun. She's talking to them?
She
I
seems
guess.
to be maybe trying to command them? I don't know.
Well, that's what I thought. But they seem more like engaged and enthralled.
Maybe she's a good storyteller.
Maybe. Approach cautiously.
Same.
With flowers. I'm gonna pick flowers on the way.
You're gonna pick
Like
flowers.
a bouquet.
Okay. You pick a number of flowers. Molly sees you doing such, and she starts grabbing a few flowers of her own.
I don't know, maybe you present her with some.
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
I don't see why the fuck
Good
not.
idea. I'll do the same.
And Xavier sees you all doing that and picks a few of his
Going
own flowers and
awkwardly.
says, "It can't hurt." And you each walk up towards the Sunflora, turned away from you at the moment. Doesn't see you and doesn't notice. The Sunkern, however, seem to get startled by your presence, and they start to shift off into the grass. The Sunflora, noticing the Sunkern moving away, starts to pick itself up. It seems not terribly dexterous as it starts to lift itself off
How
the
far
ground
are we
and
from it?
turns back to you. At this point, you're maybe 60 feet away, growing 50, 40. It looks over towards you. It's smiling at the moment, but as it sees the four of you approaching, it sort of turns into a little bit of a frown, and it
I
turns and
lower
starts moving
myself.
off.
I'm like, no, wait!
Same. Try to look
Bring
non-threatening.
gifts and want to help. And just like kneel at a weird bowish, like I'm bowing to a Pokemon. Respect! Respect!
Molly looks at you and says, "Fuck that."
Molly!
As you guys genuflect, Molly does not. But Xavier does get down on one knee and looks very awkward. The Sunflower continues to move away, seemingly retreating from you, looking over its shoulder every now and then. the smaller Pokemon. The Vespiquen just kind of looks over at you and waves casually.
Hand some flowers to Fampy and get her to wave her nose.
Fampy does so. As you give it to her, she actually starts prancing a little bit as she moves forward through the grass, her little trunk holding it high in the air. She seems very excited, and she sort of prances right up towards the Vespiquen.
I didn't mean to go up.
She looks back at you, her eyes are bright, and she
Oh,
bows very deeply in front of the Vespiquen.
Oh, Fampy. What does the Vespiquen do?
The Vespiquen just watches her curiously.
Doesn't do anything?
No, continues to sit there.
Abby, offer her the flowers.
Abby looks back at you, looks very excited, and holds the flowers up towards the Vespiquen. The Vespiquen, who at the moment, both arms behind her, very much just lounging, taking in the calm, nice weather, looks between you and back at the Fampy and runs a hand over the petals on the flower, and then puts her hand back behind her, supporting herself again. Her other hand comes forward and kind of yawns a little bit, and buzzes.
Put him down.
Fampy puts the flowers down carefully on the ground, kind of pats them 3 times, and then takes 2 steps backwards, and then promptly sits
Good job.
and looks back at you.
Do we want to test our luck and see how many people we can get up there?
Sure. And Jackson's gonna try next. On his own, without a Pokemon.
Okay.
With his
Move
flowers.
What do you do?
I'm just gonna do the same thing as Fampy did and just go and offer my flowers to the Vespiquen.
Okay.
While trying to look as non-intimidating as possible.
Alright, give me a Pokemon handling check.
Oh, hell yes. Okay. That's a 21.
Okay. You move upwards, leaning on the experience that you've had dealing with your own Pokemon and some of the other wild Pokemon you've seen before. Judging her tells, gathering when she looks to be a little bit more uncomfortable, moving a little bit more slowly. But all in all, she is cool as a cucumber. She doesn't seem to mind you there at all. And as
Perfect.
you come towards her, there's a bit of a flash of light across her red ruby. And she motions for you to put the flowers down next to where Fampy's were presented.
Yes.
And I will, and I'll take a seat next to Fampy.
Oh
Okay.
no. Anybody feel like immense pressure, like not to fuck it up right now?
Constantly.
Oh, Brook's gonna go up with Fampy.
Give me a Pokemon handling check.
I'm so scared. No! 9!
Okay. You move up towards the Vespiquen. She watches you the entire time that you move. And she watches you and
I'm sorry.
she motions towards the other pile of flowers.
Awkwardly put the flowers down.
She leans over and looks at your flowers and looks back up at you. And then she turns towards the other 2 people in the grass.
Oh, I just got shaved. Oh. It's like the mean girl.
Sitting, this Pokemon is taller than you. She's not a tall Pokemon per se. She's only about the same. She's about the same height as Lucario or Sudowoodo.
Right.
But because you're sitting and your legs are outwards, she doesn't really have legs per se. She's just sitting her entire height. So she sits a good head and a half, 2 heads taller than any of you. Xavier sees what you're doing and he actually looks very excited as he comes forth. He says, Your Majesty, we've come to seek an audience. And he carefully puts down the flowers in front of her. And she looks at him and she waves him away. And he's like,
Me and Xavier are not the cool kids at the table.
He goes and sits next to you, and you can tell she's paying no attention to the side of the circle that you guys are on.
It's okay. I got shamed too.
Molly takes her flowers, her bouquet being much, much smaller than yours. It's like 2 flowers. There's a little haze of smoke above her head.
He gives no fucks.
She walks over towards the Vespiquen, kind of tosses the flowers on the ground and says, "Hey,
Of course.
what's up?"
Yeah, I saw that coming.
And the Vespiquen looks at her, and there's a little bit of light that shines off the top of her ruby, and
This is what we call asserting
Vespiquen
dominance.
nods, and Molly says, "You're cool, yeah." All right, and she turns back and she smiles at the rest of you and sits down next to Jackson.
My Pokemon is cooler than me, Xavier.
I feel like I struck out with the queen. You know, that's
Yep.
no bigger faux pas.
Nope. We definitely, yeah, we definitely sucked. I'm gonna gesture Liam over.
Liam walks
He's
over.
standing by
He looks
himself.
very stiff. He's not sure what he's doing. as
No,
he
there's still
walks
Billy and
towards
Roshi
you.
over there too.
And then he just sits down next to you, tosses them in the pile.
It's okay.
And I'll gesture for Billy to come over first. Billy, you can come over. Give the Vespiquen your flowers.
Billy looks very excited as he comes over. He puts the flowers down and he goes to sort of bow following the lead of Xavier, but he tips over far too far and he lands on his face and he picks himself up. The queen seems very amused by this, and
Oh,
she
he's like
puts
the
one hand
court
to her
He's the
face.
jester.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
perfect.
then Billy smiles real big and he comes over to sit right in front of you, Jackson.
And Roshi, your turn now. And try to get Roshi to do the same thing.
Roshi walks over. As he does so, there's a slight swagger to his step. He, being the last, has seen the rest of you do this sort of thing, and you gather that maybe he doesn't really understand, but he picked up the theatrics of everything
Yep.
you were doing. He drops all of his flowers except for one as he walks up to this Pokemon. He studies the flower in his hand as he looks up towards this much larger Pokemon. He goes, and he sort of thrusts it forward towards her, and the Vespiquen is startled suddenly, but reaches a hand forward tentatively and takes the flower, and
Nice.
Roshi turns away very quickly and moves towards Vampy and sits in the dirt beside Vampy. Vampy sort of nudges him with her little trunk.
Well, Jackson, I didn't gain any favors, so I think this is on you and Molly.
Okay, let's try this, I suppose. Oh god. Going to just kind of lean forward, still sitting,
Mm-hmm.
and just say, Your Grace, there seems to be an usurper at your hive, and your Combee awaits your return with bated breath.
Ooh. Jackson's so fancy.
You can hear Molly beside you kind of being like, "Ah, ah, ah," just faux gagging. She spits out another puff of smoke. The Vespiquen looks at you, studying you, holds up a hand as you seemingly finish speaking, kind of waves you off a little bit, and then she motions towards these little flowers on the edge ring that you're sitting in. She motions towards it, and you see this little green ball of light travel out from basically underneath her conical sort of dress-like abdomen. This little thing seems to be grub-like or bug-like in shape. It kind of buzzes outwards. Tiny, like the size of your, the last sort of
Digit.
segment of your pinky. It goes towards this little bell-shaped flower, picks just the flower, just the bud, and flies it over towards yourself, Jackson, and deposits it in your hand.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
I feel like me and Xavier other side of the circle at the not cool kids table. Being like, hey.
As the one grub disappears inside her abdomen again, she motions once more to the flowers, and a small swarm of the grubs fly outwards, collecting just enough flowers for each one of you to take a bud, minus Xavier and Brook.
Did Liam get one?
Liam got one.
Okay, Liam's at least a cool kid.
One final one travels up towards the Vespiquen, and she takes it in hand, and she holds it to her face.
I'm gonna mirror what she does.
Xavier, I think I fucked this up when I said that I was worried about fucking this up. I fucked it up.
She says, I have no idea what this is.
I don't know.
Should I be insulted, or was I the one who insulted her?
I think we insulted her. Accidentally, of course. Never on purpose.
Jackson, the fragrant is pungent. Very, very strong, and not in a bad way. Mostly in like a perfumey sort of way. It lingers in your nose buds and sort of permeates your entire body, giving you a very warm sort of sensation. Can I get a constitution check from you?
Oh no, everybody's gonna get high.
A
except for
constitution
me and
check?
Xavier.
Sorry, constitution save.
Okay, I don't know why I asked. They're both the same, and they're not too bad. Oh, except if I roll that, that's a 4.
Do our Pokemon have to too?
Everyone who is
Feroshi, 1 for...
Okay, first,
Okay.
Pampy. Okay, Pampy's a 10. And Liam is a 22.
Wow.
Roshi is an 18,
Wow.
and Billy is a 23.
Nice.
Holy smokes.
Jackson
Molly
dies immediately.
takes a Molly takes a sniff, and she almost hacks a little bit and backs up. And you can see her pupils dilate a little bit and then settle back. Jackson, you don't feel high. You feel almost drunk.
Oh.
Just warm, and you feel a little bit dulled. You're at a very sort of happy moment in that sort of drunkenness. Not sick, not tipsy. Though you imagine that if you were to stand, you might have a little bit of problem with coordination. But at this moment, you might not want to stand.
Yeah.
The Vespiquen leans her head back a little bit, and you can tell that she's feeling the effects as well.
And I assume Pampy is.
Vampy as well is sort of lolling a little bit, a little more joyous than she was before. Billy looks around at everybody and just smiles happily. Lucario really sort of snuffles and snorts a bit as the fragrance enters his powerful sort of nose, and then he snorts it out. Roshi, likewise, takes in the scent, kind of curdles his little face a little bit, and then tosses the flower on the ground.
Disrespect.
Molly smiles a little bit more.
Molly
I want to
also-
insight check the Vespa Queen to see if she just got high off her ass too. Aw, that's only a 2 plus whatever. It's probably not gonna matter.
You
3.
tell she is an enigma. She is this beautiful, regal creature. The whole world should bow before her. She gives off this aura of awe, and in this moment, this peasant before a queen, how could you possibly read her?
As someone who did not get to partake in this strange exchange, does Brook understand that everybody, or well, that 50-50 of them are like high as fuck?
Give me a medicine check.
9.
9. Whatever that scent was very enjoyable. But you're not sure if it affected them in a greater manner than that. Not yet, anyways. Maybe too soon.
I feel like I'm being left out of the cool kid party.
Molly leans forward and she says, Queenie, this is what the fuck you been up to, huh?
You just been out here having a good time.
Is this like a stoner thing?
Molly looks over at you and smiles. Yeah, kinda.
You didn't even try and she liked you.
She knows. You know.
When you know, you know.
I'm like, Lucario. Liam, is she high? Like when Molly smokes too much of her cigarettes?
Molly looks over. Lucario looks over and looks around them, and he looks back at you, and he kind of rolls his eyes a little bit.
Oh. Including the queen? Oh. Like really bad? Well then.
So, how about going back to that Combee hive with us and clearing out that Houndoom?
Vespa Quinn looks at you and she kind of waves at you a little bit like, sort of encouraging you to go on.
Surely a creature as powerful and benevolent as yourself would have no issue dealing with an outside threat such as the Houndoom that seems to have taken over the hive.
Her head lolls back a little bit. She holds one hand up dismissively. She kind of waves it at you.
Molly. You guys seem to speak the same language.
She looks at you. She says, I don't speak fucking bug.
No, you
Blah, blah,
you
blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah.
you share a certain understanding. perhaps you could be persuasive?
Yeah. Hey, look, listen up. There's some fucking big mean thing who's he's lording over all your little fucking underlings. And I mean, these guys say that he's a real fucking bad guy, you know? I don't think you want that. Like, Queen, look at you. What the fuck are you doing out here? I'm sure you can smoke some of this dope ass shit back at the hive, you know? Fuck. And the Queen stares at her, and sort of lolling around, the light gleaming off of her red jewel. She buzzes a little bit and holds up one sort of digit. Molly turns back to you and back to the Queen and says, yeah, come on, like, you know what they did the other night? They went and, they stole this other bug fucking thing, took it back to the hive. They got themselves a new queen.
And she's so beautiful.
The Queen turns and stares daggers at you before turning back to Molly once more. And Molly says, yeah, I mean, I don't fucking like bugs or anything, but I guess she's okay for a bug. You know. He looks back at you and kind of giggles a little bit.
I'm kind of scared of the Vespa Queen. I feel like the loser.
The Vespa Queen leans forward a little bit more and crosses her arms a little bit. And you can see that she's starting to think a bit. And Xavier perks up and says, yeah, Your Majesty, like they're saying, I don't know what made you want to leave, but, well, you've left all them Combee in quite a bind. I imagine they sure do miss you. She turns and looks at him and really looks him up and down. Or looking back at you, Jackson.
It's true. There is another queen at the hive currently. But you and we all know that they would be much better off with you as the queen instead of the false queen.
Can I get you to give me a persuasion check?
Okay.
With advantage, because everybody's helped you.
Oh, thank God.
I told her just how beautiful the new queen is.
Okay, so that's good because that was either a natural 1 or a 19. I don't know why it took me so long to find persuasion on my list.
It happens.
You can see her sort of slump forward a little bit, roll her head a little bit, almost like she were cracking her neck. Her wings
Oh, she means business.
flex outwards and start to slowly pick up speed, giving her that very characteristic buzz as she slowly starts to lift up off the ground.
Okay.
Well, I suppose we might as well turn around and head back now.
I agree.
I think we just started some shit.
I think we did. Hopefully the Illuminese doesn't get hurt in the midst of this.
We can hope.
Molly goes to stand up and she She stands up pretty straight and says, "Oh, well, that wasn't as fucking bad as I thought. Hey, that stuff's pretty good, eh? Like, sweet.
Jackson's going to attempt to stand up.
Sure. As soon as you stand, it's almost like the effects leave you. It was a very light, not actual sort of narcotic sort of effect. And in the moment, in the warmth, in the circle of sort of friends, it seemed to give you more of a feeling than there actually was.
Yeah. Interesting.
That's some weird stuff. How fast is the
it
queen
was.
moving?
She's sort of just righting herself at the moment and
Okay.
looking at the rest of you.
Okay. I'll collect myself and potentially return Vampy. She's slower, so.
Xavier looks at the rest of you and stands up excitedly. He says, "Oh, okay. I guess we're going. That's wow. Okay, yeah. Let's go do our tour."
Yep. Let's see how this goes, I suppose. And just wait for the Vespa Queen to lead the way.
Okay. Seeing the rest of you getting up and starting to move, she travels forward, almost like she's leading a procession.
Army.
One hand in front of her, the other one trailing behind her
Oh
as she
my god.
flies through the air fairly gracefully.
Is this what I have to look forward to?
Oh no. And you guys travel
Zippy.
back through the field. The Vespa Queen only takes a couple moments over the course of your travel to look back over her shoulder to see that you guys are still there following.
Is she much faster than us?
Not particularly. She's moving at about the same pace as you. You imagine that if she picked up, she would. If you guys picked up the pace, you might even be able to outpace her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's not particularly quick. You also don't get the sense that she's built for speed.
One cannot run in a ball gown.
No one.
What are you doing?
Mr. Producer joined.
He's
Mr. Producer.
too big to turn around in a tight space, so he was trying to turn around, and it was a very awkward thing.
Hmm.
Okay, you just follow her. Probably recall Fampy just for she's so slow.
Okay. You guys start
I
coming
think all my
back
Pokemon can
on
keep
the
up, actually.
fields that are surrounded by these Combee, and as you do so, the Combee stop and look at her as she comes. She doesn't address them, but they watch her forgetting their current duties, and they sort of start to fall in line behind her.
Yo, Houndoom! The queen's back. She's got a word to say with you, sir.
You don't hear any response, but as the hive comes into clear view in the distance, you guys have now picked up a fairly sizable entourage behind you
Of Combee.
of Combee. They all buzz around you, and it's this crazy hum in the air of all these small bee Pokemon. And the Vespa Queen marches straight towards the hive, and as she gets within about 10 feet of it, the front of it almost starts to melt away as individual Combee pull themselves away from the hive itself, leaving an opening large enough for her to walk through. And she just flies directly in.
Are we able to
Gonna
go
try to
in
follow
after
her.
The opening seems to
Yes.
remain as you guys
Like
peel
win?
in behind. As you
Same.
enter inside this, you note a complex structure made entirely of Combee.
Oh, weird.
It's this constant hum, and it's warm in here, and it smells sweet.
But I think the question is there a floor?
The floor seems to be ground.
Okay.
Okay, so we're not just walking all over a bunch of Combees.
Just stepping on Combee face.
You can see a number of honeycomb-like structures entirely made up of Combee. You can see innumerable Combee that are flitting around inside here, seemingly delivering nectar. In the process of making this honey, which they are born and bred to do. It's like passing through rooms and layers and rooms and layers, each without doors, but the queen herself makes her own doors. As she moves through it like a knife through butter, the Combee remove themselves and let her through. You note that the temperature seems to rise a little bit as you continue to move through it, getting
Like the
warmer.
booty shaking bees?
Like the booty shaking bees. And you can sense maybe a little bit of anxiety in the air. The Combee that are inside here don't necessarily fall in line with the rest of the procession, but they really regard you guys as intruders in their space. And some of the other Combee start to almost square off. You can see some Combee staring at each other in more aggressive sort of fashion. But there's no fights and no violence breaks out. As a final wall peels away, the queen reveals a large interior space with a little bit of a scene before you. You see the Houndoom in all its glory, looking just as awful as ever, lying on the ground. A few Combee around its head, fanning it with their wings. There is a pile of flowers which the Illuminese is resting on. It looks to be a little frightened at the moment, looking between the Houndoom and the rest of you guys now entering. The Houndoom itself looks up towards you, gives a quick bark, and two smaller Houndour jump out in front of you, sort of blocking your path. The Vespiquen looks at all of this and waves sharply and starts buzzing, and you see Combee peel off from the sides of this massive hive, and the walls seem to undulate as the Combee themselves move into place and out of place and around. You see Combee once again facing off with each other as the Houndoom looks around at all the Combee and the activity and the Vespiquen. He snorts and about a flame sort of fills his jaw and just drips down his cheeks. And he looks up at some of the Combee and he barks, "Roof! Roof!" And more Combee flit from the sky and pair off against other Combee. And there's this tense dance all throughout the air around you as different Combee pair off.
Hey, Houndoom. Remember us?
The Houndoom takes one step forward, standing to its full height, and looks directly at you. It snorts, and you can almost see a hint of a smile.
Also, Matt, I think we just figured out what the Pokemon BBEG is.
Yeah.
This Pokemon's pretty tall. It stands almost 5 feet tall,
Oh!
and that's on 4 legs.
4 legs, yeah. Got it.
So it's like the size of a small horse.
Yep.
It's
Perfect.
two little enforcers standing at your shins at the moment are like growling at you aggressively, but they keep looking back towards the Houndoom.
Okay.
Well, are we doing this or what, Houndoom?
No, I'm just ready to be like,
The Houndoom once again smiles as the Vespiquen waves her arm very authoritatively, and there's this heavy buzz that leaves her as a slow trickle of grubs start to sort of gather down below her and around her. A small fury as they form up around her in almost like a defensive sort of perimeter. The Houndoom lowers its head. It barks once and flames fill its jaw and bounce downwards towards the ground, singeing the earth below it. And then it rears back its head and howls.
So we doing this?
Can I get you guys to roll initiative?
Yeah.
Hey, that's best initiative I've rolled in a long time.
Mine was mediocre. Could be worse.
Womp, womp, womp.
Initiative is always our
Too many people.
that like when Matt Mercer had the Kingtakers and the Mighty Nine and the Ancient Red Dragon fighting.
All right. Jackson, what'd you get?
A 15.
What?
Question. Because Liam is out, and I did take Vampy away, but the entire time I said Vampy is not active, can I talk her out? Or do I have to start with Liam?
And Roshi's still out. He is not active.
Figures is no. There is. All right.
Miss Quick.
I think it's funny, like, this is one of our iconic battle music. It's like when you watch Critical Role and there's that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of Combee.
All right. There's a flurry of activity as the queen waves her own orders, and the entire hive seems to implode on itself. The walls falling away as the Combee all seem to face off. A second wave of Combee clashes with them, and now this
Oh my God.
arrangement turns violent, and the queen
Sorry,
is
everybody.
left.
Gotta make this like kind of super tiny for a bit.
Yeah.
And the queen is left there seemingly by herself as the rest of the hive fights amongst each other for essentially who's in authority here. does so, the walls basically push you guys backwards. It's just this undulating force of bodies that just rock against you, pushing you further and further back, separating you from where the hound is. For the sake of this battle, consider all of these Combee in these spaces here to be solid.
Okay.
There are seemingly 4 Combee that have joined in aggressors.
Okay, so aggressors, 4 Combee, 2 little dudes, the big dudes, and then we have 16 feet on the side.
As far as I know. Such a big.
Oh, I just said James is just magical.
Sure, I All right, starting off this match. The first one to go is this Houndor right here. Standing where it is, it lets loose this awkward bout of smog. Spreads out.
Okay, Matt and I will just be over here singing the battle music.
Yeah, I'm just gonna vamp the music. And it's gonna be just like ever so slightly off because of the mic delay between Discord and you guys, so it's gonna be infuriating to anybody listening.
Ghibli, I think has missed me not being home. He's like super lovey. The other day he climbed up onto my chest and just sat on like my chest, and then he sat on my throat.
Oh yeah, I saw that picture.
Yeah. First he was lying, and then he like got up and then adjusted and then sat on my throat. I had to get Steven to try and lift him off because I could like hardly breathe because he was like leaning into my face while sitting on my throat.
What a little bugger.
And he was screaming like Steven was trying to take him away, and he was like, "Ah!"
So we can't see through that.
Correct. Jackson.
Roshi, try to run in around them. He's going to go, I've counted it already, up to here. And then I'm going to go
I totally just lost Roshi. Like, I don't even know where he went. Oh, okay. I was like, he just disappeared.
Yeah, the Squirtle takes off on its squat little legs, running around this hive. It is crazy how much noise and heat all these tiny little bodies give off. The best McQuinn took some damage at the top of her turn. Being in
because of the
there.
smogy smog.
And it seems to really hurt her. As she breaks out of it. Going straight for the Houndoom. She's going to take an attack of opportunity as she runs past one of the Houndour. Which misses her with an Ember as she flies back in a fury. She moves right up towards this Houndoom and slashes at it with her hard claws. The Houndoom bounces backwards, dodging the attack easily enough.
Yeah, a quick question, sorry.
Yep.
For squares like that one, where there's Combee kind of in it, are we able to occupy those squares? Like that
Yeah.
square? Or do we have to be like in the square below?
Yeah, so you can be in that square, you can be in that square, but you can't move between them.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a solid thing, so you can kind of butt up against it and move it a little bit, but you can't move through it.
Okay.
Okay, so this Combee starts flying off towards your Squirtle. Stopping there, beating its wings and setting towards a gust. It's going to be a 14.
Does not hit.
Does not hit. Roshi ducks into its shell and it just bounces off. Harmless. Houndour number 2
Electric Boogaloo.
turns around and shoots a Ember towards the Queen. Missing. The Queen bats her wings and it just kind of extinguishes in midair. Brook.
Hey, Debbie, let's go! Liam, I'll come back for you!
Okay, you guys run up behind Roshi. Your little elephant prancing the whole way.
Yeah, I see her running just like...
Super
Xavier sees you guys running that way and he says, "Come on, Venternet!" And they run in the opposite direction. The next Combee in the line starts moving down, mimicking the other one. And once again sends a gust down towards your Squirtle.
He can certainly try.
That one's going to be a 16.
As a reaction, Squirtle is going to use Withdraw to increase its AC by 2 and make that a miss.
Nice. With practice and precision, he ducks inside the shell once again, having no effect on him.
I haven't gotten to use that yet because every time I'm tempted to, it's like, oh, it's a 17. It's going to match. Damn it.
Now it's the Houndoom's turn. The Houndoom seems perfectly happy with his corn right in front of him.
Oh.
The Houndoom gnashes its teeth and it reaches out towards the specimen. With a natural 20.
Oh, no.
It's going to do some mean damage on the Vespiquen. Oh man, we don't have enough D4s.
At least they're just
She's probably vulnerable to it too, though, so it's going to double. If I had to guess, the bee does not resist fire.
She does not. Yeah, it's going to be 5 D4s. Doing a total of 34 points of damage.
Whew.
And just as you surmised, she is not resistant to that at all. In fact, she catches her side, and she seems to take a bad turn to that. As she backs up, she looks not so buoyant. Yeah, she's actually burned, and she's scorched.
Took 68 points of fucking fire type damage and is burned. Great.
No, 34 was the double.
Oh, it was doubled. Okay.
Yeah. Molly's turn. Molly sees the two of you going that way, and she starts running up behind Xavier. With Blackguard at her side, flying slightly ahead of her. Combee number 4 starts flying downwards.
Are there Pokemon not able to dash, or?
They did not dash.
Damn.
We're the only ones that either down.
Combee number 2 is likewise going to start splitting out. Okay. This smog cloud goes away. But the Houndour, hearing you guys coming, is going to start running over in that direction. He's going to cough up another bout of smog over your Squirtle.
Hey.
Oh.
Jackson, start of your turn, your Squirtle's going to take some damage.
Okay.
It's going to take 3 points of poison type damage.
3 points of French fish. Okay.
What's up?
Do not feel my dice right in front of me.
And you need to make a Constitution saving throw.
For Squirtle. Okay, that's not bad. That's a. What is it? Plus 4, so that's a 13.
13. No problem, he passes.
Perfect.
Shrugging off the poison in his lungs.
Alright, Roshi, just go and give him a bop. And he's gonna get into danger position and tackle the Houndour.
Okay, running right in with a full body tackle.
And that's a. It's a 14 to hit.
14 hits him squarely.
Perfect. And attack was 1d6 still. So that's 5 points of normal type damage.
Awesome. This cocky dog didn't even see the Squirtle coming as it bursts out of the cloud of smog, hitting him squarely. Okay.
And Jackson's gonna move 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30.
Okay. The Vespiquen is hurt, and it is also flinched. Instead, what it does is it calls out, and a number of grubs appear from under it and form a very strong defensive barrier around it, as it uses move and sword. It is going to take a little bit of damage. Succumbs to the burns a little bit. That's not looking too great. The first Combee that made an attack on your Squirtle is going to back up a little bit. Opportunity.
Heck yes. That's a. Why can't I map right now? Just tackle again, and that's going to be 13 plus 2 for proficiency. Yes, so a 16 to hit,
16 hits.
and 5 points of normal type damage again.
All right. It turns around and lets loose another gust of wind at you.
Sure,
At the Squirtle. That's going to be a 19.
hits.
going to be 7 points of flying type damage.
Okay.
That slaps up against the side of Squirtle there. All right, Houndour number 2 sees you guys coming around the bend. Stopping
Just
there, it
around
lets
the
loose
bend.
a burst of ember from its mouth towards your Squirtle.
Okay.
It's going to be a 16.
Hits. He already uses reaction for the attack of opportunity, so he can't withdraw.
It's going to be 7 points of fire type damage.
Reduced to 3.
Yeah. Patting himself with a little bit of water, Roshi extinguishes the flame before it does too much damage. Brook.
Yeah. Do I take damage or something?
You are, yeah. So Fampy is going to take,
And
you are
Brook?
going to take 4 points of poison type damage. And I need both of you to give me a Constitution save.
I'm almost forgetting where my hit points are because it's been a while.
Since I could play my D&D.
And then I can't math. I can't reverse math. Okay, and then con saves?
Yep.
Fuck me. That's a 5 for Fampy.
Fampy fails. Fampy is now poisoned. As Fampy kind of sputters in this awful smog around it. You hear it pop. Though you can't see it.
Cool. So that's damage like all the fucking time.
The end of every turn, it'll take its
Proficiency?
proficiency in damage. It also has disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls.
Rook rolled a 4.
Also, poison.
Yep.
You feel very sickly.
Fampy! Get out of here! 35, 40. Taking the attack of opportunity from the Combee.
Yeah. Yeah, bursting through the smoke, comes tearing around underneath that Combee, who tries to take an attack at it. Okay, that's not off, right? That's going to be a 14.
14 will still hit.
Okay. You take 5 points of flying type damage.
5?
Yeah. As it managed to beat its wings against your Fampy. The Fampy makes it around, hurtling around the other side of this dog. He turns and nips at its small feet.
I'm gonna go. Here.
Coughing from the smog.
Yeah.
Okay, Xavier is going to continue running around. With his Venonat beside him. He sees the Combee coming down the way, tearing towards him. And make sure he's got the range. Calls out, Venonat, confusion! Venonat is going to try a confusion attack. Not hitting the Combee. The Combee flying around erratically inside this humming hive seems unaffected at the moment. The next Combee. Comes flying around. Sorry, we'll fly this way. Seeing you, Jackson, rounding that corner.
Uh-oh.
Tries to make a gust attack at you.
Shit.
It's going to be a natural 19.
Yep.
So well over 20. You get flashbacks as this Combee lets loose this gust of wind towards you. Oh, you only take 2 points of flying type damage as it smokes you
Ayy.
square in the body.
I can deal with that.
Molly comes running around. Gligar beside her. Gligar. Guess we're finding it.
Also, you use like that.
That's
Yeah,
dash,
just a little.
but it makes it right up in behind that Combee.
Perfect.
Okay, Combee number... these are in the wrong order, doesn't matter. Combee number 4 is going to move back from Roshi, risking that attack of opportunity.
Yeah, he's going to take it. That's an 18.
Sorry,
For
you do
tackle.
not have your reaction back yet.
Oh, yeah, I haven't had my turn. No, that's right. Sorry.
It's going to hit you with a gust. That's going to be 15.
Just hits.
Just hits.
Yeah.
And that's going to be 5 points of flying type damage as it buffets
Okay.
him. With all this activity, Roshi can't handle all of the different stressors and is unable to dodge that one. And then the last Combee. Is also going to make an attack. I moved these all in the wrong order.
Yeah, the red and the green one have gone. Because the red one was the one Roshi took the attack of opportunity against.
Yeah, no, it's
And the blue one is gone as well.
Yeah. He's going to make an attack against the Venonat, hitting it.
Venonat.
That's going to be 3 points of damage, but the Venonat takes it hard. It seems to be susceptible to this sort of damage. Bouncing backwards, it bounces back onto its feet. Houndour number 1. The smog dissipates. Did you and Vampy take damage from poison at the end of your turn?
I thought that was the first. We have to take it at the first turn when we got it, and at the end of it.
You took it first because of the smog.
Yeah, but we took the smog stuff on our turn. We then
Yeah.
take the damage immediately afterwards.
You take the poison damage because now you're poisoned. Yeah, the first was damage from the smog. At the end of the turn, you're affected by the poison condition. Houndour number 1 is currently in combat between the two of you guys.
Good.
Looking back towards the two Pokemon, it starts nipping at either of their heels, and it is going to... gonna howl. It just stands there. Oh!
Just gonna poof itself.
Jackson.
Alrighty, well, I'm going to 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and just give him a boop, Roshi. He's gonna take a tackle at the Houndour in front of him, and that's an 16 to hit.
Did you use advantage?
That hits.
Yep. And that's 7 points of normal type damage.
Yeah, another strong counter to this Pokemon. The Houndour is looking like it's getting pretty hurt at this moment. Vespiquen is going to disengage from the Houndoom and start moving backwards.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I was gonna go use a burn heal on her, but looks like I might have to reserve that for myself.
The first Combee's gonna flit around and is gonna shoot a gust at your Squirtle.
Okay.
It's gonna be a 10.
Does not hit.
It moves forward a little bit. Pounder number 2 is looking at this little elephant in front of it, and it shoots a ember at it. That's going to be a 12.
That misses.
That misses. Nice. Fampy turns around and flicks it off with the edge of its trunk. Brook.
Okay, I'm gonna go 5, 10, 15, 20, and 30. How does the one in between Abby and Roshi look?
Looking like it's been pretty hurt at the moment.
Antidote myself. Fampy! Hit it with a rollout!
Nice. Fampy tucks in its little ears in its trunk and it starts to roll aggressively on the
19
ground.
to hit.
Oh yeah, definitely hits. It catches the Houndour in the flank.
4 points of rock type damage.
Okay. Yeah, the Houndour seems particularly susceptible to this, and it whimpers as it's struck in the back, taking increased damage. It is still standing, just barely though. It is limping on 2 paws at the moment. Xavier looks between the Pokemon that just came to his left and up at the one to the north of him, and he calls out for his Venonat. Venonat! Again, confusion! This time the Venonat hits. Doing 7 points of damage. Number 3. Green one moves around to see your Roshi and goes in for a gust attack against it.
Okay.
It's going to be 18.
Hits.
It's going to be 2 points of flying type damage.
Oh no, whatever shall I do?
And it moves backwards. The Houndoom looks around at all the targets in front of it. It
Oh.
looks at you, Jackson.
Do I get to half the poison damage if she's resistant to poison?
No, you would have the smog damage.
How much was the smog damage? Remember?
I think it was
Only
4.
points. You do not have the
Ongoing.
status. That's typeless. It's inside here. Yes. Yeah. Did you take damage at the end of your turn? Yeah. Yeah, the Houndoom looks between all of you and sees you, Jackson, standing right there.
I'm not a threat.
So Jackson's gonna hurt. Brook is hurting.
I'm gonna shoot some finger guns.
on continuous. Jackson's gonna have immediate pain. Brook has prolonged
yes.
ouch. But you're probably
Depending on
gonna
how well the
prolonged-
Houndoom rolls, he might also have ongoing pain.
I was
after
gonna
the
say
immediate
because you
pain.
might get burned.
Yep.
The Houndoom looks at you and very confidently slowly strides up to you, growling the
Oh.
whole
Yeah, that's
time.
fair. That's a fair assumption.
It lifts a paw to strike you, and then you see energy spring from the lackeys around it as it uses beat up.
Oh. Jackson going to die now.
Does a
Unless-
7 hit you?
No. It just doesn't.
You
Jackson's finger guns intimidated the shit out of him.
I you rolled so poorly.
Yes. Bon chance.
Yeah, as you stand there, the Houndoom almost flinches, seeing that you're not backing off of it, and it fans its attack. And then it looks a little stunned, takes a step backwards, and growls at you. Molly steps between Xavier and the Combee. And the Gligar is now going to get a turn. It's going to use Acrobatics. Oh, yeah. Doing 3d8. That is such a freaking good move. Taking out that Combee in one fell swoop. Knocking it right off the board. It hits the ground hard and then disappears inside the swarm of all these other Combees fighting amongst it. Combee number 4 is going to take another gust attack at the Venonat. That's a natural 20. 18 points of damage, knocking the Venonat out cold. Xavier looks over and he yells, "Venonat, no! Pan! Go! Panko!" He throws his Pineco down the field. This small bagworm Pokemon that looks more like Pinecone than it does insect lands before the Combee. The first Houndour that howled last turn looks between the two opponents on either side of it. It looks at your Phanpy, which is clearly hurting more, and it growls and it shoots about a flame at it. Ember. Okay, that's going to be a 15 to hit.
Yeah.
It's going to do 3 points of fire type damage. Jackson.
Well.
You currently are staring down this Pokemon that is almost tall enough to look you in the eyes.
Well then. We're gonna make mistakes. And Jackson's just gonna pull out a Pokeball and throw it at the Sounder.
Okay. Give me a Pokemon handling check.
That's a plus 4 is 17.
17. The Pokeball flies through the air, confidently striking its target. It disappears between the two other Pokemon and the ball hits the ground rolling. You can't hear it, given just the deafening hum of all the Combee fighting around you. But the ball seems to come to a stop.
Perfect.
Bye.
And then I'm just gonna run over here. And probably get booped and maybe faint.
Yeah, as you turn away from it, the Houndoom looks between its lackey and you, and it
Gonna
goes
finger
in
guns again.
for a repeat of the last attack. That's a bit better. That's going to be a 17 to hit you.
Yeah, that hits. Here comes goodbye.
You take 6 points of damage from the first hit.
Okay, that's not too bad.
You take 10 points of damage from the second hit.
That's a lot worse.
You take 7 points of damage from the third.
And I'm unconscious.
And the hits keep coming. You take 8 points of damage.
So fail 2 death saves.
And that was 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, Yes, that was 5.
Okay, that's where it ends.
Oh, thank fuck. That was almost just character death.
I was like, this is how Jackson's gonna die? I started having a panic attack there for a second.
He would have got one more hit if he hadn't captured the Houndour.
Yep.
It's now Vespiquin's turn. The Vespiquin sees you fall, and in a fury, it flies towards the Houndoom, and goes in for a Fury Cutter. Missing. It bans this Houndoom, very confident at the moment.
How many hit points is Jackson's max?
24.
Okay. This first Combee is gonna swing around and attack Roshi.
Okay.
Is gonna miss. That's gonna be a 8.
Does not hit, yes.
Yeah. Kind of flutters backwards a little bit. The second Houndour is gonna move backwards a little bit. And is gonna shoot another Ember towards your Fampi.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's going to let loose a bout of Smog.
Oh,
So I know that this means bad things for me, but I just recounted the attacks. It was only 4. It took 3 to knock Jackson out, and then the 1 when he was on the ground.
Okay. All right. We will come back to that then.
Figured we're streaming, we should probably get ahead of that before.
oh no.
I think at least.
Can we like get back to it though? Because it genuinely affects my round.
Yep.
I mean, you go next.
In fact, I'm gonna go to the live stream and just double check actually on YouTube just to be safe.
Yeah. Are you able to go back?
I should be able to. We'll see. It might not let me because I'm not viewing it live. Oh, no, it's letting me. Okay, so I can double check.
Because I'm not healing a dead man.
Yep, 6 points. 6, 10, then I was reduced to 6, I believe, at that point.
Good
Yep,
thing we
7 was unconscious, so that's 3 attacks.
Good thing
Then
we have
1
that.
for the 2 failed death saves, and then 1 for... Yeah.
Okay. As far as you can tell, Brook, Jackson is bloodied, gored on the ground, and he is not moving.
But from a game perspective, Steven, you really gonna make me fuck my turn over?
I'm telling
I
you
just
that
saw him maul it. It's the difference between I saw him maul a conscious thing and I saw him maul a dead thing.
no,
Or an unconscious
he
thing.
tossed the thing on the ground and it lies limping.
Is Jackson for real dead?
He appears to be.
Like, do I need to make a medicine check?
Depends on how hard you want
What
to
Brook
check
would
him,
do.
but on the ground right now, he looks like a mangled corpse.
So I'm gonna be pretty pissed if you make a death save and he ends up failing. If I make a medicine check, is it gonna take my action?
You don't need to make a medicine check. You can tell that there's a dead man on the ground.
Abby! We're fucking killing it! Roll out! And I'm just like screaming and crying.
Okay. Abby turns around and rolls towards this Pokemon with full force. Which one's she hitting?
The fucking asshole.
The Houndoom?
Yep. It's a modified 20.
That hits.
Max fucking damage. 13 points of rock type damage.
13 points of rock type damage. It hits hard as she rolls across, tearing up dirt as she does so, smoking the back end of this Houndoom who wasn't paying her any attention before, but is definitely paying her attention. Paying her attention now. Sorry, you said how much?
15. I pull Jackson's body away from the thing.
Sure.
So it's 15 to get the... to like... here?
Mhm.
Well, I can't actually move him.
Okay. Xavier looks up at his Pineco, unaware of what just transpired around the next bend there. Calls out for Pineco.
Oh, and I'm screaming, Roshi, get out of the cloud!
Is going to take down. Oh yeah, flying upwards with its full force. It strikes that Combee with a powerful takedown. The two of them landing on the ground together. Oh, minimum damage. 4 points of damage. The Combee, however, is starting to look hurt.
Did Abby's attack hurt the Houndoom as much as it hurt the little dude?
Way more. That was a solid
Like,
hit.
but was it like
Vulnerable.
a vulnerable hit?
Yes. Combee number 3. Cannot see Roshi in that bout of smog, so it's gonna fly around. Top there. Houndoom
I
looks,
can't process it yet.
Houndoom looks between the Vespiquen and the Phampi. The Vespiquen, having fanned every single attack, the fact that it's burned and is quickly losing stamina, it turns towards your Phampi and goes in for a fire bang. Its mouth lights up as it reaches down toward this much smaller thing going
The
for the
little
throat.
one or the big one? Sorry.
The Houndoom.
I'm like having trouble processing information at the moment.
That's going to be a 19 to hit.
That hits.
going to be 19 points of fire type damage. As it bites down. Fampy's currently rolled into a ball. And resists the flames. Fampy is not burned. It's Molly's turn. Molly starts running around the corner here. With Gligar at her side.
Brook is like half kneeling, holding Jackson.
Yeah, Molly looks at you and says, "What the fuck happened to him?"
The Houndoom!
And the Gligar keeps moving forward. Yeah, and is able to get right around that Houndoom. But that is a dash. This other Combee is going to make an attack against the Pineco. Disadvantage because it's melee. Good rolls though, hitting with 7 points of damage, doubled to 14 because Pineco is susceptible. Xavier's getting thrashed by all these Pokemon. He's gritting his teeth, looking over and saying, "I hope you're having more success over there."
I don't want to talk about it!
Jackson, can you give me a Pokemon handling check for Roshi?
Sure.
And add
That's I don't think he has any, but let me double check. No, he does not. So that's a 19.
Wow, 19. His training kicks in, and he acts just as if you were there yelling commands at him. He is going to take damage at the top of his turn.
Oh, yeah, he needs to make that con save as well.
Yeah, so he takes 4 points of poison damage at the top of his turn from the smog, and he needs to make a Constitution save.
4 points of damage. His con save was a a 14.
He passes.
Perfect. Well, if Jackson was here, he'd probably just have him water gun the Houndoom.
Okay.
And apparently Roshi's out for vengeance because that's a nat 20.
Okay. Roshi would have to run outside of the smog cloud to do so.
Yep.
Perfect. And as he does so, he sees you lying there, and a streak of emotion runs through him as his mouth fills with a geyser full of water.
Even though I'm pretty sure he's the least loyal Pokemon I have now. Even Maui got to +1 for her loyalty. So that's 8, 9, 10 points of water type damage.
Spraying down this Houndoom, who actually yelps as he is struck by it. As he turns, hellfire dripping from its fangs. The Vespiquen is once again going to disengage. Moving over this way. Combee number 1. The smog cloud disappears. Combee is going to move. And gust your Squirtle.
Okay.
That's going to be an 11.
Does not hit.
Houndour number 2 is going to rotate around your Fampy. And is going to take an Ember attack.
Just one attack. One more.
That's going to miss. That's going to be a 9.
Yep.
It's difficult making a ranged attack while in melee, and it just fires off harmlessly. Brook.
I'm risking moving, taking the attack of opportunity, and flanking.
Okay. It's going to attack one more time. It's a little bit better. It's going to be a 14.
That hits.
14 hits.
With Ember?
Yeah.
Would that be a disadvantage because it's in melee?
He's also flanking, so it's straight.
Yeah. Wait, but you wouldn't get advantage from flanking on a ranged attack anyways.
No?
From flanking? No. Because you have to be in melee to get it.
Yeah,
and
no, fair
your
point.
range attacks have
Roll that.
disadvantage.
That's much worse. That's gonna be a 8.
No, miss. Thanks, Meta Matt. Vampy! Fucking kill it! Ooh, she's gonna miss. 7.
7 misses. She rolls, but the Houndoom is still light and strong. It puts down its horns and just smacks it away. Pampy loses her momentum, landing in the dirt. Xavier moves up behind his Pineco and yells at it, "Take it down!" But the Pineco's gonna miss, jumping through the air, missing the Combee entirely. This Combee's gonna continue circling around. It sees the Vespiquen, but it's not going to attack the Vespiquen. It's going to move down here and attack your Fampy instead. That's not a good roll. That's a 11.
It's a miss.
Misses. The Houndoom turns towards your Fampy and is going to... another Fire Fang attack. It's going to be a dirty 20.
But apparently at advantage, my dice thought it would be a funny joke to roll 2 4s. I hate that. When you roll advantage and your dice come up
And
like
you get
on the bottom end.
both poor.
Yeah, and like the same fucking number on the bottom end. That makes me so
Yep.
angry.
It's going to be 18 points of Fire type
Abby's
damage.
unconscious.
He tosses her body to the side as it disappears inside a bright red light.
If I brought out Liam, would he start all the way over here?
You left Liam back there, yeah.
I'm just considering my options because Brook's pissed. Liam, I need you! And he's just gonna dash right to there.
Okay. You hear him running. Where is he? Let's see. Oh, he's over there. Gotcha.
He's fast.
Bye, Roshi.
Yeah,
He's
moves
fast,
really
boy.
fast. Molly sees her Gligar all alone against this Pokemon and she says, "Gligar, don't let it catch you. Acrobatics." And the thing is going to do some incredible flips in the air, slashing at this Pokemon in the middle of its maneuvers. Oh, that's good. That's definitely going to hit. It's going to do some damage. Could roll better. Still, 15 points of damage on the Houndoom. Smack, 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 smack. She moves up beside you, Brook. Looking at you, shaking a little bit herself. Combee number 4 is going to make an attack against that Pineco. Hits it. Do another 14 points of damage to it. This Pineco is pretty tough, but it's getting worn down pretty quickly. Jackson, can you give me a Pokemon handling check for Roshi? Plus its ability.
Yeah. plus his loyalty, that's not as good. That's only a 7.
7. Roshi stands there looking at you and looking at the opponent and all the Pokemon swirling around it and is unable to do anything. It doesn't know what to do in the moment.
Okay.
The Vespiquen circles around. It has no such issue with striking its subordinates and uses Gust on that Combee. Hitting it. Destroying this Combee. How dare it? It is knocked out of the sky, disappearing inside the wall of the other Combee. Okay. This Combee, seeing the newcomer, is going to flap its wings and make a gust attack at Lucario. That's pretty good. That's going to be a 19.
19.
Lucario is going to take 4 points of flying type damage as the Combee flutters backwards a little bit. Okay, Houndour number 2 is going to look down towards Roshi and Lucario and is going to use Smog again.
So that's a con save for Roshi? Or is that going to happen on his turn?
It'll happen on his turn.
Okay.
Brook. So top of the turn, I think Lucario is immune to poison type damage. He doesn't need to make a Constitution save either because he's immune to the poison condition.
Liam, move over this way.
Then he runs through the cloud of smog, bursting through the other side.
Paralyze him. Use Force Bomb.
Sliding through the dirt, he shoves both hands forward.
Which is a natural 18, so he is paralyzed.
Yeah, that absolutely hits. The Houndour is struck, shutting down its muscles.
Yeah, that is his fifth. Okay. 13 points of fighting type.
Awesome.
I was like, he has a +7?
The blow ripples through this Pokemon. You see muscle and fur bristle on it. You see its flame extinguish from its mouth as it rears backwards and barely catches itself back on all 4 legs. It is breathing hard, and it suddenly looks very, very hurt.
Does it still seem like a Pokemon out of the range of my ability to catch?
It does. Xavier's turn. Panko! Take that down! Knock it out once and for all! Combie's AC is higher than I thought. Alright, Panko, which is stats.
For
I just
giving
misses.
my other Pokemon experience. I just needed Liam.
Does not hit. Whiffs it in the air. The Combee are small and rather dexterous. The Houndoom. He's gonna look at your Lucario, put his head back, and roar. Roar! A shiver runs through Lucario. I need him to make a charisma save.
It's a 14. roll for paralyzation?
No, it didn't. It makes it cute anyways. Lucario just passes. You see his arms shake a little bit. He shakes his head, his ears flopping about. He shakes it off. The Houndoom is none too pleased with that, and is going to take off at a run.
It is paralyzed.
Yeah.
Oh, Brook's chasing this motherfucker down. Are you kidding me?
Oh, he also ran off the screen on Twitch.
Oh,
Thanks, Matt.
No problem.
Molly does get an attack of opportunity as it runs away. That might actually hit it. So use this thing. Oh, Glyke. Hitting it. The Houndoom doesn't even get away. It lies down, smack on the ground. The Gligar knocking it out cold. And just like that, while the buzzing continues, there's a change in the vibration in the air as everything sort of stops. The Combee stop fighting each other as the Vespiquen starts waving her arms around, pointing them in directions, and you see the Combee all turn at once towards the last remaining Houndour, ferrying it up high into the air as the Houndour whimpers until the whimper disappears.
no, because Brook is no longer in combat and desperate and upset, is going to knowingly be stupid and start giving CPR to Jackson, and with almost every compression, just continually pump her pure heart into him.
Okay. Molly looks over you and she gets on her knees and she goes, fuck, man. Good. Old man.
He can't be dead! Fucking bring him back!
Xavier comes running over and he says, What happened? All around you, the buzzing takes a more coordinated effort as the Combees start to sort of peel away and form back into this honeycomb type arrangement. Them all falling back into line as the Queen moves about, issuing her orders. The Queen moves over towards all of you, seeing the fallen man, and she moves slowly and gracefully, her conical sort of abdomen moving rhythmically
Still
as it does so.
CPR until 35 hit points are done, and then I'm still trying.
Yeah. It doesn't seem to be doing anything. You see this man who is broken, so thoroughly broken. His bones, you see places where his skin has been punched in. You can see great bruising along his chest that is just swelling. His eyes are open the entire time.
No, Jackson, you can't go. We have to solve the mystery, and we have to find out all.
Squirtle stands over top of you in the body, just looking, not saying anything, but just looking.
Billy was also technically out.
Yeah, as everything starts to sort of slow down, Billy would move over slowly, but not understanding, kind of lean down next to Brook and go, "Woo, woo, woo," and look down at Jackson and shake him a little bit and smile. "Woo, woo, woo, woo."
Sorry, Billy.
He looks back at you and he just smiles. "Woo, woo, woo."
No, Jackson's gone.
There's a heavy hum in the air all around you. But there's a different chord that is struck. A hum different than the rest of the hive. There is a very, very strange feeling that overcomes all of you, and Molly actually sort of stumbles backwards and goes, "What the fuck?" You hear the sound of something almost like a stone grinding against stone. In Jackson, you see 3 young people. You see Brook, you see Molly, and you see Xavier, all leaning over the mangled corpse of yourself. You see Billy's smile slowly
What kind of fucking Pokemon this shit?
turning into a frown, and his happy, sort of jovial sounds turning into soft whimpers. See the Squirtle not saying anything, but just standing there.
It's not over yet, Jackson. Can't be.
You see Billy turn and look up at you, Jackson. And he smiles and goes, "Woo, woo, woo." And he steps towards you and he hugs you, Jackson. Not you mangled on the ground, you looking down at these 3 people over top of this mangled body.
Do we see Billy hugging something?
Yeah.
What the hell?
You turn around and you see Jackson standing there, being embraced by his Sudowoodo. And you also see and still feel the blood on your hands, wet and sticky, of the Jackson that is lying on the ground, brutalized in front of you.
You can't leave yet, Jackson. We have too much to do. You have a journey to be on. Brook's gonna go hug him too.
Sure. And you do?
Jackson will hug them back?
That's like I'm fucking confused.
I am very confused.
You guys all embrace.
What's the weird hum?
It's gone. It came very suddenly and then just sort of disappeared.
Jackson's gonna start poking himself?
Sure. You poke yourself. You feel skin and bone, and you touch your cheek, and you feel the teeth on the inside of your mouth, and
The Pokemon all still here? The Combees?
the Combee are flying around.
Is the queen?
She is. She's just standing there, sort of looking.
Did
Molly is in stunned silence, and
Did you do this? What is this?
Vespiquen just looks at you.
Touch Jackson's face. Is he there? Is it him?
Feels like it.
Don't understand.
Hi?
I don't understand, Jackson.
I don't either. What happened?
The Houndoom, it got you.
I thought so. Did you do this?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Huh.
Jackson, the last thing you remember is seeing the Houndoom out in the open, the Vespiquen fighting with it, it taking a horrible blow and becoming badly burned. The last thing you remember thinking was, I need to get up there and I need to heal it. I need to save its burns. But doing so would put me in a dangerous position, so I'll stay back here. The rest of the battle continued,
Oh.
and then suddenly, like things were progressing. The Houndoom was being beaten back. It was a triumphant victory, and then suddenly everything was different. The Houndoom was defeated. It was on the ground, but everybody was standing over your body, crying.
Is my body still there?
Yeah.
So confused.
That looks an awful lot like me.
Mhm.
I don't remember that happening. I know my memory is bad, but I feel like I'd remember that.
What do you mean? What do you remember?
I thought of healing the queen, but knew it would put me in danger, so I hung back and just kept on fighting with you guys. And then all of a sudden, you were crying over my body?
What? But you ran up, and then the Vespa Queen left, and you were exposed, and it came for you.
That does sound like something I would do. But I don't remember that. Does my bad memory give me superpowers?
Kind of shove him in the arm. I don't know, but if it does, then it can stay.
And I think that's probably a good time to end this.
Sure.
What the fuck just
Praise Arceus, I guess.
You just got Vespa Queen Hail Married, like when Bella and when Lily and Everly died in our campaign in the quote.
Yeah. That's all I can think of.
I don't know.
Guess we'll find out on the next episode of Pokemon D&D Wundoro Adventure.
Or Jackson is already dead.
Oh god.
And I've
This
just
is a
been
zombie walking this earth.
traveling around with this weird Jackson
Apparition.
zombie hybrid.
Things are definitely strange. All right. Any closing remarks, guys?
I hate
I am
crying.
confused.
I hate crying on stream, and then when I get like worked up on purpose as my character, the tears just free flow. Like I don't even have to fake cry.
Yep.
Oh, it's too much.
And see, if we weren't on stream and this was just a private game, I wouldn't have made the I wouldn't have made the comment about like, oh no, that was only 4 attacks. I would have been like, no, yeah, I would have taken the out.
Well,
If that fucking it wouldn't have knocked me out on the 3rd hit, were it not for that little shithead Combee dealing 2 damage to me.
oh no.
Oh, fuck that Combee.
It ain't.
I would have been reduced to 1,
I just
and then I
couldn't
would have survived.
process it. So like I was like, wait, what? Like Jax is really for real dead? Like we're in the middle of a combat and I can't process it right now.
Yeah.
Like what?
So, big ol' thank you goes out to Alyssa of the Lighter Arts for the player tokens that we used here today. They're lovely. I especially really love our Molly token. But that's just
Yeah.
they're all great. Check her
Molly's
out.
like Steven's druggy girl inner self.
Yeah.
It's his
I
alter
have
ego.
an inner druggy girl.
Yeah, it's your like alter ego something.
Thank you to Joe the DM for putting this game together. I love playing it. You can find out more about the Pokemon 5e homebrew at www.pokemon5e.com. Thank you to Kevin MacLeod for the music you're hearing right now and many of the other things. You can find out more about him at incompetech.com. And thank you to Mikkel_Beats for the Pokemon Chill soundtrack. It is wonderful and excellent ear candy. The next episode of Pokemon D&D will be on Monday, February the 22nd. And what do we got? You're back to Cyberpunk tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, and then back
Mo
to
Cyberpunk tomorrow.
Friday shenanigans on the 12th.
Heck yeah.
All that jazz.
And all that jazz.
Anything else, guys? No?
I cried. Now time for bed.
Yep.
If you've got any suggestions for what we should name this thing, let us know.
Bee-lieve it or not.
I kind of like that actually.
Cause I don't believe it.
Okay, we will see you guys all next time.
Bye.
Ciao.